Chapter 1058. Success. I finally passed through the hell crack. The hell crack disappeared, and Yi Chunfeng found himself in an ancient wasteland. Inhaling the dense spiritual energy in the air, Yi Chunfeng let out a sigh of relief. His pale face revealed a smile of having survived a calamity. If not for that drop of golden blood, Yi Chunfeng did not know if he would have been able to pass through the hell crack alive. What is the origin of that drop of blood? Yi Chunfeng had tried to fuse with that drop of golden blood more than once, but he had failed every time. However, he had a feeling that his identity might be related to that drop of golden blood. It was just that he had not found a way to unlock the secret of the golden blood. Marquis Qianming, it is time to settle the score. After recovering his soul power in the ancient wasteland, Yi Chunfeng entered the universe realm with a thought. He was prepared to use the power of the universe realm to subdue the Marquis Qianming and obtain the secret of the abyss of hell from him. You are here. The Marquis Qianming, who was absorbing the dense spiritual energy in the universe realm to heal himself, felt Yi Chunfeng's aura appear. He immediately opened his eagle-like eyes and coldly stared at him. He was prepared to deal a fatal blow at any moment. Marquis Qianming, I advise you to be more obedient here. Otherwise, you will be the one to suffer. Although the Marquis Qianming was a nirvana expert, in the universe realm, Yi Chunfeng was an invincible existence. The Marquis Qianming was of no threat to him. Ha ha, with just you. The Marquis Qianming laughed loudly. His entire body flew up and his demonic energy turned into the heaven-splitting hand. It was like a mountain that welcomed Yi Chunfeng. Looks like if I don't teach you a lesson, you won't be obedient. Yi Chunfeng sneered. Borrowing the power of the universe realm into his body, he gently stretched out a finger and pointed at the descending heaven-splitting hand. Gotcha! After being attacked by Yi Chunfeng's finger, the terrifyingly powerful heaven-splitting palm trembled violently. Then, it suddenly exploded in midair like glass. What? Witnessing the scene of Yi Chunfeng shattering the heavenly hand with a single finger, the Marquis of Qianming was so shocked that his eyeballs almost popped out. He didn't dare to believe what he was seeing. The next moment, Yi Chunfeng appeared in front of him, as if he had teleported. He gently raised his right hand and slapped his cheek. Although Yi Chunfeng's slap was not fast and the Marquis of Qianming's strength was enough to dodge it, the Marquis of Qianming was suppressed by Yi Chunfeng's borrowed Qiankuan force and was unable to move. He could only watch as Yi Chunfeng's slap landed on his face. Pa crisp slap rang out as the Marquis of Qianming was sent flying by Yi Chunfeng's slap. His body was like a kite with a broken string, drawing a beautiful arc in the air before crashing heavily onto the ground. A large amount of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. What kind of power is this? Feeling the terror of the Qiankuan force, the Marquis of Qianming lost his previous calmness and started to panic. Marquis of Qianming, did you really think that I would be so kind as to save your life? Yi Chunfeng looked at the frightened Marquis of Qianming and said coldly, Here, I am a god. If I want you to live, you will live. If I want you to die, you will die. The Qilin bloodline burned and he had 3 heads and 6 arms. The Marquis of Qianming didn't believe it. He instantly burned his powerful bloodline power and transformed into 3 heads and 6 arms. He held 6 Dao soldiers in his hands and attacked Yi Chunfeng. But when the murderous Marquis of Qianming approached Yi Chunfeng, the terrifying Qiankuan force poured down again and heavily suppressed his body, making him unable to move. The next moment, Yi Chunfeng slapped the Marquis of Qianming and sent him flying. A large amount of blood mixed with broken teeth flowed out of his mouth. True Qilin Seal the Marquis of Qianming spat out a mouthful of blood and climbed up from the ground. His 6 arms formed a seal at the same time and mobilized the rolling demonic power and Dao intent to transform into the invincible Qilin divine beast. It trampled on the space and charged towards Yi Chunfeng. If it was in the outside world, Yi Chunfeng naturally wouldn't dare to resist the true Qilin seal. But in the Qiankuan realm, Yi Chunfeng had 100 ways to destroy this move. Whoosh! An ear-piercing sound broke through the air. Yi Chunfeng, who was astonishingly fast, directly passed through the true Qilin seal. Under the horrified gaze of the Marquis of Qianming, he appeared in front of him and kicked out fiercely. He kicked the Marquis of Qianming's chest and directly knocked him to the ground. A large amount of blood spurted out of his mouth like a fountain. Marquis of Qianming, you should be more honest now, right? Yi Chunfeng looked at the heavily injured Marquis of Qianming and said coldly. Yi Chunfeng, what exactly do you want to do? At this moment, the Marquis of Qianming believed Yi Chunfeng's words. In the Qiankuan realm, he was an invincible existence. Even if he had extraordinary means, it was useless. Submit to me. Yi Chunfeng looked down at the Marquis of Qianming and said in an irresistible manner, Don't even think about it. Even if I die, I won't submit to you. How arrogant was the Marquis of Qianming. He refused without fear. In this place, it's not up to you. Yi Chunfeng revealed a trace of an icy cold smile and continued to attack him. The tide-like attacks quickly heavily injured him, and his soul suffered great damage. He directly fell into a coma. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng took out the sub-brain of the God-Eater brain that had just split up and entered the Marquis of Qianming's soul sea through the crack in his head, forcefully controlling him. Although the Marquis of Qianming was an expert of nirvana and his soul was extremely terrifying, under the situation where his soul was heavily injured, he couldn't resist the invasion of the Soul-Eater brain at all. Soon, his consciousness was controlled by the Soul-Eater brain and he obediently submitted to Yi Chunfeng. What did you do to me? When the Marquis of Qianming woke up from his coma and felt the change in his consciousness, his expression changed and he said in horror, Marquis of Qianming, I don't want to hear you speak to me in this tone in the future. Yi Chunfeng looked at the Marquis of Qianming, whose expression changed drastically, and warned coldly. Yes, young Master Yi. The Marquis of Qianming couldn't resist Yi Chunfeng's orders at all. He obediently lowered his noble head and said respectfully, Marquis of Qianming, let me ask you, what is this abyss of hell? Yi Chunfeng revealed a trace of satisfaction as he looked at the respectful Marquis of Qianming and asked. According to the ancient books of the Kirin kingdom, this abyss of hell was most likely the burial place of the demon emperor purple-eyed mystic rhinoceros. The Marquis of Qianming didn't dare to hide anything and told Yi Chunfeng everything he knew. When the demon emperor purple-eyed mystic rhinoceros heard the Marquis of Qianming's story, Yi Chunfeng frowned tightly and thought to himself, Is my past really related to the demon clan? I am a member of the demon clan? But soon, he rejected this idea. The demon emperor had died countless years ago, and it definitely had nothing to do with him. Marquis of Qianming, do you know why the purple-eyed mystic rhinoceros appeared in the lower world and why it was buried in this abyss of hell? Yi Chunfeng asked. I don't know, there is no introduction in the ancient books. The Marquis of Qianming shook his head and said, But according to the ancient books, after the demon emperor descended, he rarely showed himself. According to the old god emperor of the Kirin kingdom, the demon emperor descended to the lower world to protect or search for something. Is this abyss of hell hiding other secrets besides the tomb of the demon emperor? After listening to the Marquis of Qianming's story, Yi Chunfeng felt that the secret of the abyss of hell wasn't just the tomb of the purple-eyed mystic rhinoceros. There must be other shocking mysteries hidden. Marquis of Qianming, let me ask you, what is the use of the demon emperor bone that you obtained earlier? Thinking of the demon emperor bone that the Marquis of Qianming regarded as a treasure, Yi Chunfeng continued to ask. The demon emperor bone is suspected to be the bone of the demon emperor. It contains the power of the demon emperor and is an excellent body-tempering item. Its value is comparable to the ancient path elixir. Give me the 3 demon emperor bones. What Yi Chunfeng needed now was body-tempering items, so he ordered without hesitation. Yes. The Marquis of Qianming obediently took out the 3 demon emperor bones and gave them to Yi Chunfeng. In addition to the demon emperor bones, the Marquis of Qianming also forcibly removed the blood contract with the top-grade Taoist artifact Ice Dragon Sword and gave it to Yi Chunfeng along with the True Kailan Seal and the Sky-Splitting Hand Cultivation Chant. Marquis of Qianming, you can cultivate here from now on. When the time is right, I will help you pass through the world-destroying heavenly punishment and break through nirvana. Yi Chunfeng gave him a heavenly fire date that was more than 200,000 years old and took away the Demon Emperor Bone and Ice Dragon Sword. He came to a place with rich spiritual energy and prepared to refine them to improve his strength. Mobile reading site, book address. In order to facilitate your next reading, you can click on the Collect button at the bottom to record your reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1059. Strange, if this bone really belonged to the demon Tharch purple-eyed mystic rhinoceros, why would it be scattered outside? Feeling the powerful demonic power in the demon Tharch bone, Yi Chunfeng increasingly felt that apart from the demon Thearka's tomb, there were other big secrets hidden here. As for the mystery of his birth, he had already thrown it to the back of his mind and did not think about it anymore. Yi Chunfeng cleared his mind of distracting thoughts and sat cross-legged for a while to adjust his condition to the best. He took out a mid-grade Dao artifact dagger and forcefully cut open his navel. He placed the demon Tharch bone, which contained powerful demonic power, into the Shinju acupoint in his navel, and circulated the god change of 9 transformations to refine it. Roar, roar, roar. Suddenly, terrifying beastly roars rang out from the demon Tharch bone, exploding in Yi Chunfeng's body like thunder. The terrifying sound caused Yi Chunfeng's body to tremble violently. His ears buzzed, and streams of blood flowed out from his ears. This was the remnant demon Thearka's consciousness in the demon Tharch bone. Feeling the immense consciousness from the demon Tharch bone, Yi Chunfeng immediately guarded his mind and controlled the chaos divine wood to suppress it. However, in the next moment, the demon Tharch bone's consciousness that surged out from the demon Tharch bone entered Yi Chunfeng's soul sea and produced a large number of images in his mind. The purple-eyed mystic rhinoceros, which was dozens of feet tall, had a horn that was a few meters long and had bulging muscles all over its body. Its eyes flickered with purple light, and it emitted a majestic demonic aura. It roared at the sky and wanted to destroy Yi Chunfeng's consciousness. However, Yi Chunfeng's soul had been tempered countless times and was extremely powerful. Coupled with the God-Eater brain's suppression, the demon Tharch bone's consciousness could not destroy his soul at all. Enduring the intense pain from his soul, the God-Eater brain appeared in his soul sea and released a powerful devouring force. It formed a devouring whirlpool and crushed the demon Tharch bone's consciousness. Soon, the demon Tharch bone's consciousness was devoured by the God-Eater brain and disappeared into Yi Chunfeng's soul sea. God change of 9 transformations to refine at full force without the interference of the demon Thearka's consciousness, Yi Chunfeng got rid of all distracting thoughts. He circulated the divine change of 9 transformations again and again to refine the demon Thearka's bone in his Shin K meridian. He transformed the spiritual pearl and increased the strength of his physical body. The Fei Tharch bone was the skeleton of the Fei Tharch purple-eyed mysterious rhinoceros. It was extremely hard, but the divine transformation of 9 transformations was known as the number 1 body refining mystique of the Shun clan. Its refining ability was even stronger. Under the refinement of the divine change of 9 transformations, the sturdy Fei Tharch bone was being ground down bit by bit. Large amounts of pure Fei power seeped out from the Fei Tharch bone and fused into the spiritual pearl bit by bit, accelerating the spiritual pearl's transformation speed. After 11 days of unremitting efforts by Yi Chunfeng, the demon Larch Bone was finally shattered. A large amount of pure demon power and demon essence seeped out and merged into the spiritual pearl. In an instant, the spiritual pearl completed its transformation and turned into a true spiritual pearl. As expected of the remains of a shifter emperor, the amount of energy contained within is simply too great. It allowed my physical body to undergo a qualitative change in such a short period of time, allowing me to break through to the 4th level true spirit body realm. After cultivating the 4th level true spirit body, Yi Chunfeng didn't stop cultivating. He took out the second demon, Larch Bone, and placed it in his mouth. He circulated the divine change of 9 transformations to refine it. At this moment, the terrifying demon Thearka's consciousness appeared again and rushed into his soul sea, wanting to rip it apart. Although Yi Chunfeng's soul sea was attacked even more ferociously by the demon Thearka's consciousness, Yi Chunfeng, who was prepared, didn't panic. He controlled the God-Eater brain to suppress his soul sea and quickly devoured the demon Thearka's consciousness in the demon Larch Bone. He then used all his strength to refine the second demon, Larch Bone, and refined its power into his Shen Ting Meridian. While Yi Chunfeng was refining the demon Larch Bone while hiding in the universe mirror, the entire abyss of hell had a huge change. Waves of dense death energy spread out from the depths of the abyss of hell and filled the entire abyss of hell, causing the abyss of hell to become even more dangerous. About half a month later, the second demon Larch Bone in Yi Chunfeng's mouth was shattered by the divine change of 9 transformations. The pure demon power and demon essence that seeped out were all refined by Yi Chunfeng into the spiritual pearl in his Shen Ting Meridian. As expected, the perfected true spirit body wasn't that easy to cultivate. After fusing with the pure energy of an entire demon Larch Bone, Yi Chunfeng realized that the spiritual pearl in his Shen Ting Meridian had only evolved by 2/3. He took out the last demon Larch Bone and put it in his mouth, refining it with all his might. How exactly did he refine the demon Larch Bone? While Yi Chunfeng was refining the demon Larch Bone, the Marquis of Qianming had been secretly observing. When he realized that not only did Yi Chunfeng easily erase the demon Larch Bone's consciousness in the demon Larch Bone, but he was also able to shatter the tough demon Larch Bone. His heart was in turmoil. He felt that Yi Chunfeng was a bottomless pit, and no one knew how deep his foundation was. His proud heart was subdued by Yi Chunfeng's heaven-defying methods. Time flew by, and a month's time flew by. In order to build the most solid physical foundation, Yi Chunfeng refined the demon core demon power and demon essence that seeped out from the demon Larch Bone to the extreme. He then integrated them into the Shen Ting Meridian's spiritual pearl and carried out the deepest and most thorough transformation. After integrating all the energy from the third demon Larch Bone, the spiritual pearl in his Shen Ting Meridian continued to crack, and a powerful force formed in the deepest part of the spiritual pearl. Finally, the spiritual pearl in his Shen Ting Meridian transformed into a true spirit body. Yi Chunfeng also cultivated his true spirit body to the perfected true spirit body, and his physical strength rose steadily. 70 million kilograms. Feeling that his physical strength had risen to 70 million kilograms, Yi Chunfeng revealed a satisfied smile. Once he transformed into his godfiend body, Yi Chunfeng's physical strength would directly surpass the 200 million kilograms mark and be comparable to a low-grade saint beast. Yi Chunfeng's physical defense had also increased greatly. Just his physical defense alone was comparable to a high-grade Dao artifact. When he transformed into his godfiend body and executed the golden body arts, his physical defense would definitely reach the level of the strongest high-grade Dao artifact. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to hurt him. With my current strength, when I transform into my godfiend body, I should be able to smash a Class 6 combat beast emperor into minced meat with a single punch. Yi Chunfeng was very satisfied with the changes in his physical body. After cultivating his true spirit body to the perfected true spirit body, he finally had the ability to face Nirvana head-on. Ice Dragon Sword, blood recognition. With the increase in strength, Yi Chunfeng dripped his blood on the supreme grade Dao artifact Ice Dragon Sword and refined it. After that, he took out Old Zay, Hemingway map, and the others' belongings. He dripped his blood on a dozen low-grade and mid-grade Dao swords and gathered 36 Qiankuan swords, which greatly increased the power of the Qiankuan sword array. Yi Chunfeng didn't keep the Gu Dao treasure, Dao artifacts, Dao pills that he obtained from killing the enemies. He gave all of them to Mo Fengyun, the spirit fish, and the few demonic beasts to increase their strength. Even the Marquis Qianming, who had just submitted, obtained a decent harvest. Yi Chunfeng gave him an ancient Dao pill that he obtained from the Star Emperor's tomb, which made him extremely excited. Young Master Yi, do you have the ability to open that Demon Emperor's furnace? The Marquis Qianming came to Yi Chunfeng's side and asked in anticipation when he saw him studying the Demon Emperor's furnace. He wanted to know if the Demon Emperor's furnace contained any powerful elixirs. Sigh, with my current strength, I can't open this Demon Emperor's furnace. Yi Chunfeng had tried several times but failed. The speed of his life flame refining the Demon Emperor's furnace was extremely slow. He felt that if he wanted to open the Demon Emperor's furnace, he would have to at least break through to the rank 6 Combat Beast Emperor realm. Young Master Yi, try using that golden blood and see if it can help you open the Demon Emperor's furnace, the Marquis Qianming suggested. Sigh, I can't open the Demon Emperor's furnace, and I can't refine the golden blood either. Because the Marquis Qianming was controlled by Soul Devourer, Yi Chunfeng wasn't afraid of him betraying him. Young Master Yi, didn't you refine that drop of golden blood? Hearing that Yi Chunfeng couldn't refine the golden blood, the Marquis Qianming revealed a trace of surprise. In his opinion, the golden blood had helped Yi Chunfeng twice and saved his life. It must be under Yi Chunfeng's control. Otherwise, how could it automatically protect its master when it had no connection with Yi Chunfeng? No, that drop of blood is very special. With my current strength, I can't refine it. Yi Chunfeng shook his head and said, Okay, you guys cultivate well. I'll go out and take a look. After that, Yi Chunfeng left the universe realm and returned to the abyss of hell, where the death energy was abnormally strong and a large number of dead souls were floating around. It was full of great danger. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the bookmark at the bottom to record this reading record. The next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1060. Yes, 2 teleportation arrays. Yi Chunfeng relied on his powerful physical strength to kill all the dead souls in the abyss of hell. He arrived at the depths of this wasteland and discovered a tall stone tablet. And beneath this stone stele were sealed 2 transmission arrays that seemed to have existed for countless years, exuding a sense of vicissitudes. Teleportation arrays. Looking at the ancient teleportation formation in the distance, Yi Chunfeng flew over and exploded with a shocking power, shattering the dead souls that blocked his way. He arrived at the ancient teleportation formation sealed in a restriction and saw the ancient characters carved on the tall stone stele that gave off the aura of time. However, the ancient words on the stone tablet were passed down from ancient times. They were very different from modern words. Yi Chunfeng couldn't recognize most of the words and could only vaguely guess the meaning of a few words. God-Eater Brain, deduce. Yi Chunfeng closed his eyes and controlled the power of the God-Eater Brain to seep into the stone tablet. He quickly deduced the ancient words on the stone tablet. Very quickly, with the help of the God-Eater Brain, Yi Chunfeng understood the meaning of the ancient words on the stone tablet. It turned out that the left teleportation array was the one to leave the abyss of hell, while the right teleportation array was the one to enter the deepest part of the abyss of hell. However, The ancient words on the stone tablet clearly warned that the deepest part of the abyss of hell was extremely dangerous. Without the strength of a level 6 combat beast emperor and above, one would definitely die. After knowing the truth of the 2 teleportation arrays, Yi Chunfeng knitted his brows tightly. Although he really wanted to enter the deepest part of the abyss of hell and explore the true secrets of the abyss of hell was too dangerous, and the stone tablet clearly warned him. This made Yi Chunfeng hesitate. "Sigh, forget it. I'll come here again when I become a level 6 combat beast emperor. It's not worth it to be trapped here." After making his choice, Yi Chunfeng gave up the idea of taking the risk to enter the abyss of hell. He took a teleportation stone from the tall stone tablet. With the help of this teleportation array, he could directly teleport here and enter the deepest part of the abyss of hell in the future. "Let's go." Yi Chunfeng came to the teleportation array on the left. With the help of the god-devouring brain, he cracked the ancient barrier that enveloped the teleportation array and activated it. He left the perilous abyss of hell and returned to the trench that contained a lot of barriers. Yeah, the Kirin Kingdom. When Yi Chunfeng passed through the layers of restrictions and swam out of the trench, his powerful soul sensed more than 10 experts with towering monster aura guarding the trench. "Stop! Who are you? Why are you here?" When Yi Chunfeng swam out of the trench, a large number of runes immediately appeared and sealed off the entire ocean. A man wearing golden armor and holding a sharp spear appeared in front of Yi Chunfeng. He was a level 6 combat beast emperor with 1 foot in the emperor realm. He questioned Yi Chunfeng with the tone of a superior. "Is this a dragon's pool or a tiger's den? Can't I come here?" Yi Chunfeng's lips curled up slightly as he looked at the ferocious experts of the Kirin Kingdom and said playfully. After cultivating his true spirit body to perfection, Yi Chunfeng wanted to test his strength. However, more than 10 experts of the Kirin Kingdom came knocking on his door. The bold golden armored man's face darkened. He scolded angrily, "Looks like you won't be honest if I don't teach you a lesson. Get him! Get him!" The golden armored man waved his hand and ordered loudly. Whoosh! 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 As soon as the golden armored man's voice faded, 2 experts of the Kirin Kingdom came through the cold sea water. They were holding a dragon-head broadsword that was 10 feet long and made of deep-sea cold iron. They slashed at Yi Chunfeng, wanting to injure him severely. Facing the attack of the dragon-head broadsword that was surrounded by the runes of the Great Tao, Yi Chunfeng didn't dodge. He just let the 2 powerful broadswords hit his body. What? When they slashed at Yi Chunfeng's body, these 2 Qilin Divine Nations experts felt as if they were slashing at the world's hardest dark steel. A powerful repulsive force passed through the dragon-head broadsword and into their arms. The shock caused their arms to go numb, and the web between their thumb and forefinger were bleeding. They almost lost their grip on the dragon-head broadsword. "Don't waste time. Come at me together." Relying on his absolute physical defense, Yi Chunfeng resisted the full-force attack of the 2 experts of the Kirin Kingdom. He put his hands behind his back and looked at the experts of the Kirin Kingdom, whose faces changed greatly, and said calmly, "Who are you?" Seeing Yi Chunfeng's amazing physical defense, the golden armored man's heart trembled. He didn't dare to underestimate Yi Chunfeng anymore and asked in a low voice, "I'll count to 3. If you don't make a move, don't blame me for not giving you a chance." Yi Chunfeng warned impatiently. "We are from the Kirin Kingdom." "Fine. Good, good, good. Since you want to die, we'll fulfill your wish." Seeing Yi Chunfeng start counting, the golden armored man and the others knew that Yi Chunfeng wasn't trying to scare them. They all ignited their bloodline power and turned into their strongest beast soul form. They stimulated the demonic energy in their bodies and attacked together. Facing the deadly attacks of the experts of the Kirin Kingdom, Yi Chunfeng didn't dodge. He just let them attack his body like a storm. "With my current physical defense, treasures below the mid-grade Tao artifact shouldn't be able to hurt me." Feeling that the attacks of the experts of the Kirin kingdom were just scratching an itch, Yi Chunfeng revealed a satisfied smile. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng stimulated the power of his 5 acupoints and increased his physical strength to 80 million pounds. He was like a primordial beast, directly crushing the experts of the Kirin kingdom. Along with a series of screams, the experts of the Kirin kingdom were blown up by Yi Chunfeng's punches. They turned into clouds of blood mist and spread out in the cold sea water. After domineeringly killing more than 10 Qilin Divine Nations experts, Yi Chunfeng collected their belongings. He erupted with heaven-shocking power and tore apart the ice-cold seawater. He flew out of the sea surface at an extremely fast speed. After leaving the East Sea, Yi Chunfeng didn't go to the Yu family, nor did he go to the East Sea Palace to take revenge. In his opinion, the 3 Holy Lands had suffered such a heavy blow that they only existed in name. The enmity between him and them had disappeared with the death of the Hemingway map, Yu Chan, and the others. It was time to go to the Central World. He felt that there weren't many places in the 4 continents that were attractive to him. He didn't have the confidence to go to the vast heaven domain, which was suspected to be the dojo of a big shot. In the end, he decided to go to the central world of the Duhan continent to explore and gather the main ingredients for the heavenly saint-breaking pill. When his strength increased, he would return and enter the vast heaven domain and the abyss of hell. He would unravel the secrets of these 2 dangerous places and seize the great opportunities hidden in them. Yi Chunfeng rode the Pegasus and flew rapidly in the sky. He was flying toward the 9 chasms, which was the only way to enter the central world. After he had ridden for 3 days and 3 nights on the Pegasus, his sharp senses suddenly discovered a golden carriage pulled by 3 dragon horses with the bloodline of the flood dragon on a winding mountain road. And in the extremely luxurious golden carriage that had a hint of the smell of money, he felt a familiar aura. It was him. Looking at the carriage speeding on the mountain road, Yi Chunfeng's lips curled up slightly. He descended from the sky on the Pegasus and flew over quickly like a ray of white light. Mobile reading site, book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1061. Hiss hiss hiss. Feeling the aura of the Pegasus, the 3 dragon horses with the blood of the flood dragon shivered and screamed, startling the people in the carriage. Watermark advertisement test. Watermark advertisement test. Then, the curtain of the carriage covered in pearls was pushed aside by a hand covered in thick black hair, revealing a rough face. Brother Lu Mang, long time no see. Yi Chunfeng revealed a rare smile and slowly walked over to greet them on his Pegasus. Brother Fengchen. When Lu Mang saw Yi Chunfeng riding a majestic-looking, snow-white horse, Lu Mang's expression froze. Then, he revealed an expression of wild joy. He exited the carriage with a strong fragrance of cosmetics. Brother Fengchen, I'm so glad you're okay. Lu Mang said excitedly. I knew those people couldn't deal with you. Brother Lu Mang, where are you going? Yi Chunfeng was curious about Lu Mang's identity, so he asked. To be honest, I'm going back to the 9 Heavens God Kingdom. Lu Mang hesitated and said. He didn't expect Brother Lu Mang to be from the 9 Heavens God Kingdom. Yi Chunfeng said calmly. I don't know why Brother Lu Mang didn't stay in the 9 Heavens God Kingdom, but came to the northern continent to do business. Sigh, my background is very complicated, and my cultivation talent is not good. If I stay in the 9 Heavens God Kingdom, I'll be laughed at and bullied. And I don't have any big ambitions, I just want to pick up girls and enjoy life. If it weren't for special circumstances, I wouldn't go back to the 9 Heavens God Kingdom. Lu Mang sighed softly. Brother Fengchen, you're also going to the Central World, right? Lu Mang asked after he guessed Yi Chunfeng's purpose. What about the 9-layer chasm? Lu Mang asked, guessing Yi Chunfeng's intentions. Yes, I'm going to the central world to broaden my horizons. Yi Chunfeng nodded and said, Haha, I didn't expect Brother Fengchen and I would be so fated. Lu Meng laughed and invited, there's still some time before the Nine Heavens God Kingdom. Would Brother Fengchen be interested in getting on my carriage and drinking with me? Of course. Yi Chunfeng had a good impression of Lu Meng, who was straightforward and generous. He also wanted to learn more about the central continent through Lu Meng, so he readily agreed and jumped onto the golden carriage. This carriage has a space of its own. Following Lu Meng into the golden carriage, Yi Chunfeng revealed a look of surprise. He didn't think that Lu Meng's vulgar carriage was actually a treasure that sealed a mustard seed space. Although this mustard seed space wasn't big and its defensive power was limited, it was still a rare sight in the 4 continents. In the carriage, there were also 4 young and beautiful women wearing translucent nightgowns. Their bodies were faintly discernible, and there was a seductive look on their faces. Under the illumination of the luminous pearls, the 4 women's skin was as smooth as milk. Their curvaceous bodies emitted a seductive scent. Their 2 straight legs were completely exposed to the air, emitting a seductive light that could captivate one's soul. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and greet young Master Feng. Looking at his 4 new wives, Lu Meng scolded loudly. Greetings, young Master Feng. Although they were wearing very thin clothing, the 4 young women did not show any signs of embarrassment or panic. They bowed slightly and greeted Yi Chunfeng generously, exposing the beautiful curves of their chests to Yi Chunfeng's eyes. Brother Lu Meng is really living the life of an immortal. It really makes people envious. Yi Chunfeng looked away from the 4 women's seductive bodies and said half-jokingly, I don't have young Master Feng's talent for cultivation. I can't pursue the supreme Tao. I can only enjoy the good fortune of many people. Lu Meng sighed softly and said, Brother Fengchen, sit here. Let's drink. Okay. Yi Chunfeng nodded and sat with Lu Meng at a carved white jade table. At this time, Lu Meng's 4 beautiful wives brought 2 jars of wine, a set of jade wine bowls that exuded a trace of spiritual energy, and several dishes of spiritual food, and placed them on the table. Brother Fengchen, we meet again after a long separation. Come, cheers. Lu Meng picked up a bowl full of wine and gently clinked it with Yi Chunfeng's, drinking it in one gulp. Soon, they drank the 2 jars of wine to their heart's content. Lu Meng's beautiful wives brought more jars of wine and placed them on the table, continuously pouring wine for the 2 of them. While the 2 of them were drinking, Yi Chunfeng deliberately asked Lu Meng about the central world. However, Lu Meng was tight-lipped about his background, so Yi Chunfeng didn't ask too much. Brother Lu Meng, do you know how to exchange for some rare elixir refining herbs in the central world? Yi Chunfeng had entered the central world not only to gain experience, but also to search for the herbs needed to refine the heavenly sacred breaking pellet. As long as he could refine the heavenly saint breaking pellet, he would be able to break through the shackles of this world and break through to the realm of Tao Saint. At that time, his chances of ascending to the realm of heaven would greatly increase. Although most of the central world's resources were controlled by the 3 divine kingdoms, there was one force that could rival the 3 divine kingdoms in terms of resources. That was the Heavenly Palace. And it was the Heavenly Palace that founded the Heavenly Palace. Brother Fengchen, if you want to exchange for some rare elixir refining herbs, you can try the Heavenly Palace. As long as you have enough chips, you can exchange for almost any elixir refining herbs in the fighting spirit continent. Lu Meng burped and said slowly, Brother Lu Meng, where is the Heavenly Palace? Yi Chunfeng was too unfamiliar with the central world, so he raised his eyebrows and asked. The Heavenly Palace's background was extremely mysterious. It didn't belong to the 3 divine kingdoms, but the Heavenly Palace's Heavenly Palace existed in almost all the cities of the 3 divine kingdoms. Lu Meng took a sip of wine and said drunkenly, but according to the size of the city, the number of alchemists, and the number of refining techniques, The heavenly palace's scale and level are different. The highest level Saint Palace, the 9th grade heavenly palace, can only be found in the imperial cities of the 3 divine kingdoms and other large cities. Heavenly palace, heavenly palace. Remembering Lu Mang's words, Yi Chunfeng prepared to find an opportunity to go to the heavenly palace and look for the main ingredients for the heavenly saint breaking pellet. Brother Fengchen, the night is long, do you need me to serve you? If you are interested, you can pick any of my 4 wives. Lu Mang finished the wine in his bowl and gave one of his beautiful wives a look. In Lu Mang's eyes, women were just clothes. Brothers were the most important, so he didn't shy away. Young Master Feng, let me serve you to rest. Seeing Lu Mang's gaze, a woman with a voluptuous figure and a bewitching charm like a peach asked boldly. She stuck close to Yi Chunfeng and gave off an urge to take a bite of her. Lu Mang's wife was only wearing thin gauze pajamas. She pressed herself against Yi Chunfeng's body, letting Yi Chunfeng clearly feel her elastic skin, the softness of her breasts, and the faint fragrance constantly entering Yi Chunfeng's nose, teasing his heart. However, Yi Chunfeng's heart was firm. Beauty couldn't charm him at all. Plus, he really wasn't interested in Lu Mang's beautiful wife. He tactfully refused. I appreciate Madam's kindness, but there is no need for you to serve me. Well, I won't disturb your rest, I'm going out to get some fresh air. After speaking, Yi Chunfeng ignored the restriction in the carriage and leaped out. He returned to the Pegasus and cleared all distracting thoughts. He absorbed the rich spiritual energy in the mountain range and silently adjusted his breathing. When approaching the 9 chasm, Yi Chunfeng encountered many powerful martial artists. Almost all of these martial artists had reached the Combat Beast Emperor realm. Obviously, they were all here to enter the central continent. Finally, at dawn, Yi Chunfeng, Lu Mang and the others arrived at the depths of this 1,000-mile mountain range. They saw a curtain of light that stretched for God knows how many miles. It reached into the clouds and sealed off the entire space. And this curtain was the 9 chasm that isolated the central world. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1062. They had finally arrived at the 9 chasm. Lu Mang rubbed his drunken eyes and yawned as he crawled out of the carriage. There were still many kiss marks on his neck. Watermark advertisement test obviously. He had a lot of fights with his 4 new concubines last night. Brother Fengchen, do you want to go through the 9 chasm directly with us, or do you want to challenge the 9 chasm? As a member of the 9 heavens divine nation, Lu Mang had a token that allowed him to enter and exit the 9 chasm freely. I want to challenge the 9 chasm and see its power. As Yi Chunfeng looked at the sky-piercing light screen and felt the energy contained within it, he became somewhat interested in this 9-layer chasm. Brother Fengchen, the 9 chasm is very powerful. You need to go through the 9 chasm to enter the central continent. Lu Mang explained in detail. When you go through the 9 chasm, you will be attacked by the 9 chasm's restrictions and sound waves. Don't worry, Brother Lu Mang, the 9 chasm is nothing to me. Yi Chunfeng revealed a confident smile and slowly approached the 9 chasm on his Pegasus. At this time, there were several powerful warriors standing under the 9 chasm. Among them, there was an old man with snow-white hair and a clear scar at the corner of his eye, giving off a fiendish aura. There was also a voluptuous woman with a pair of peach blossom eyes and a charming aura. These 2 attracted Yi Chunfeng's attention. From their auras, they were both level 4 combat beast emperors. They were probably the top rogue cultivators of the 4 continents. Little Dongfang girl, let's have a competition and see who can go through the 9 chasm first. The white-haired old man stroked his snow-white goatee and looked at the woman in the purple-red martial arts suit that outlined her curvaceous figure with a burning gaze as he suggested. Of course, but should we raise the stakes? It will be more interesting this way. The alluring woman's lips curled into a seductive smile as she said, "What do you want from I?" The white-haired old man asked with a smile. "I don't know if I will be able to go to the central continent. I am a bit scared and want Elder Bai's Tao treasure golden mushroom umbrella. Would Elder Bai be willing to part with it?" The alluring woman opened her red lips and said sweetly, "Fine, I'll bet with you, but if you lose, I want you to be my concubine and serve me for 10 years. The white-haired old man was mesmerized by her sexy body and charming appearance, so he agreed without hesitation. "Ha ha, old Bai is really vigorous despite his age. I'll agree to it," the charming woman answered very straightforwardly. Clearly, she was very confident in her own strength. "Okay, let's get started." Following the charming woman's order, the two of them ignited their powerful bloodline power and transformed into their most powerful battle form. Raising their strength to the limit, they turned into two extremely powerful streams of light and rushed into the Nine Chasm that was like a screen of light that connected to the sky. Buzz buzz the moment the two of them rushed into the Nine Chasm, the huge light screen started to tremble. A huge amount of restrictive power boiled on the surface of the light screen, and a terrifying aura surged endlessly, crashing into their bodies wave after wave. Earth Tao Insight Defense. Facing the attack of the Nine Chasms' restrictive power, the charming woman deduced the Earth Tao Insight to the limit and formed an Earth shield with extremely strong defensive power in front of her, resisting the restrictive power as she went through the restrictive power with all her might. When the charming woman was the first to pass through the first layer of the restrictive power, a sharp sound wave that seemed to be able to penetrate the soul rang in the Nine Chasms' restrictive power. It carried a strange frequency and violently blasted into her ears, making her feel as if her soul was being pierced. Streams of blood flowed out from her ears. Water Tao Insight, seal the ears. Her eardrums were pierced by this sharp sound, and her soul trembled violently. The woman immediately controlled the water Tao Insight to seal her ears and continuously used the powerful Tao techniques that she mastered. Ferociously attacking, she forcefully tore through the second layer of restrictive power. The white-haired old man followed closely behind and summoned the Tao treasure golden mushroom umbrella to support the fluctuating space, resisting the Nine Chasms' restrictive power and the sound wave attack. When the two of them used all their skills to forcefully tear through the layers of restrictive power, several sharp sound waves came. Like thousands of golden needles, they ignored their defense and pierced into their sea of soul. Puff, puff. In an instant, their souls were injured, and their heads felt as if they were being pricked by needles. Large amounts of blood spurted out from their mouths, and their reactions became slightly sluggish. At this moment, the power formed by the 5 layers of restrictive power of the Nine Chasm was accompanied by the sharp sound wave. It violently blasted onto the two of them, further injuring them and shattering their defense. When the two of them clenched their teeth and held on for more than 10 breaths, another vast and tumbling restrictive power and sound waves blasted onto their bodies, injuring their souls. The woman whose earth shield was shattered was directly sent flying out of the Nine Chasm. Although the white-haired old man relied on the Tao treasure golden mushroom umbrella to hold on for more than 10 breaths, in the end, he was also heavily injured by the layers of restrictive power. He fell out of the Nine Chasm and failed the challenge. Why was the Nine Chasm's restrictive power so strong? Seeing that the two strongest people had failed the challenge, a series of gasps could be heard outside the Nine Chasm. There were even 3 warriors who had just broken through to the level 1 combat beast emperor realm, who gave up the idea of challenging the Nine Chasm. It seemed that it was impossible to cross the Nine Chasm and enter the central world without a level 5 combat beast emperor. That's right, we came here for nothing. I just don't know if anyone will cross the Nine Chasm and enter the central world today. Looking at the white-haired old man and the charming woman who were sitting cross-legged on the ground and recuperating from their injuries, many people whispered and discussed in low voices. However, there were still some people who tried to cross the Nine Chasm with their extraordinary strength and talent, but in the end they all failed. Brother Fengchen, you know the power of the Nine Chasms' restrictive power, right? You and your mount should quickly come to my carriage. I will use the token to bring you directly into the central world. It will be safer this way. Lu Meng looked at Yi Chunfeng, who was calm and did not reveal a trace of emotion in his eyes, and suggested again. No, I still want to challenge Yi Chunfeng. He shook his head and continued to refuse. Just as Yi Chunfeng was about to ride on his Pegasus and challenge Lu Meng, an ear-piercing sound suddenly rang out. A woman wearing a bright red martial arts robe that tightly wrapped around her sexy body broke through the air. She had tall and straight peaks, a slender waist, perfectly round buttocks, and slender legs. Under the astonished gazes of many people, she directly passed through the Nine Chasm and quickly passed through the Nine Chasm's restrictive power. Wung, as she passed through with all her strength, the restrictive power shattered layer after layer. Waves of piercing sounds rang out continuously, attacking her soul. However, her attack power was extremely strong. Flames were everywhere as she attacked, and her movement speed was even more terrifying. In just 10 breaths, she had passed through the Nine Chasms' restrictive power and entered the central world. This sudden scene shocked everyone. The people outside the Nine Chasm widened their eyes, and were shocked by the strength of this woman who suddenly appeared. Mobile reading website, book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this book. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1063. What a valiant young lady! Yi Chunfeng, who was riding on the Pegasus, revealed a faint smile. He didn't waste any more time and rode on the Pegasus, which neighed towards the sky and galloped towards the Nine Chasm. It startled everyone present. Damn, this person is so arrogant. He actually rode on a demonic beast and charged into the Nine Chasm. Doesn't he know that he will suffer double the attacks? I have seen too many of such arrogant people. This kind of person won't behave if he doesn't smash his head. I reckon that he will fall out in a few breaths of time. Even the white-haired old man and the charming lady, who had just failed the challenge, revealed a mocking expression. They closed their eyes and continued to recuperate. They no longer paid attention to Yi Chunfeng. Buzz, buzz, buzz. When Yi Chunfeng rode on the Pegasus and charged into the Nine Chasm with an unstoppable momentum, he was immediately attacked by the overwhelming restrictions. The terrifying restrictions blended together and formed a double restriction that wanted to blast Yi Chunfeng and the Pegasus away. Facing the double restriction attack, Yi Chunfeng's expression didn't change. He struck out a palm strike in the void. A large amount of 5 elemental Tao patterns spurted out and turned into a palm that grew bigger and bigger. It slammed down with an earth-shattering momentum. Rumble! The double restriction that came at him violently trembled and shattered like glass. The power of the 5 elements' hand did not diminish at all as it struck a layer of restriction, directly shattering the restriction that was tens of thousands of feet tall. Yi Chunfeng rode on the Pegasus and passed through the first layer of restriction without slowing down. He rushed towards the second layer of restriction. At this moment, a large amount of sound waves echoed in the violently fluctuating restriction. It was like a surging tide or densely packed silver needles that pierced towards Yi Chunfeng and the Pegasus soul spirit. Yes, this is the sound of great Tao. After being attacked by the restriction sound waves, Yi Chunfeng revealed a trace of surprise. He realized that the sound waves in the Nine Chasm were actually formed by the patterns of great Tao. Interesting. I wonder if the God-Eater brain can deduce the sound of great Tao contained in the Nine Chasm? Yi Chunfeng was slightly interested in the voice of the great Tao. If he could grasp it, it would definitely become one of his trump cards. Heaven Horse, stop. Yi Chunfeng commanded the Pegasus to stop. He controlled the power of the God-Eater brain to radiate into the 9 chasms, deducing the sound of the great Tao and attack trajectories contained within the 9 chasms. While the God-eating brain was deducing, the power of restrictions and the voice of the great Tao in the 9 chasms grew stronger and stronger. They swept through the heaven and earth like torrents, bombarding Yi Chunfeng and Pegasus, attacking their souls. The sound of the great Tao produced by the 9 chasms was extremely powerful, and under continuous attacks, the Pegasus, who was on the verge of breaking through to the 9th grade heavenly beast level, could not hold on any longer. Streams of blood flowed out from its ears, dyeing its snow-white mane red. Seeing that the Pegasus could not hold on any longer, a powerful will of Tao enveloped it, easily blocking the sound of the great path and the attacks of the restrictions. Advance! At this moment, Yi Chunfeng continued to move forward on his Pegasus. It was as if he had entered an uninhabited land. He directly passed through the 2nd layer of restrictions and was attacked by the restrictions of the 3rd layer of restrictions and the voice of the great Tao. What is that guy doing? Looking at the blurry figure of Yi Chunfeng riding his Pegasus, stopping and walking in the 9 chasms, the crowd outside the 9 chasms was shocked. Continue. Controlling the God-eating brain to understand the sound of the great Tao in the 3rd layer of restrictions, Yi Chunfeng continued to move forward on his Pegasus, comprehending the sound of the great Tao. Damn, it has been 4 hours and he is still challenging. Is that guy a tortoise? Elder Bai, what do you think that guy is doing? Listening to the sound of the great Tao that was getting louder and louder in the 9 chasms, the charming woman gasped and asked in surprise. I don't know. Elder Bai shook his head and said, he can persist in the 9 chasms for so long, which shows that his strength is extremely terrifying. It is not difficult for him to pass through the 9 chasms. I really can't figure out why he is staying in there for so long. Just as Yi Chunfeng was guessing, Yi Chunfeng rode his Pegasus and broke through the 8 layers of restrictions. He arrived at the 9 chasms and received the most powerful attack of the sound of the great Tao. After 4 hours of deduction, the God-eating brain solidified the sound of the great Tao's attack trajectory and controlled the patterns of the great Tao. Sound of the great Tao. Yi Chunfeng's eyes suddenly shot out a light that was even more dazzling than the stars. The heaven and earth Tao intent, the 5 Tao intent, and the life and death Tao intent followed the sound of the great Tao's attack trajectory and shot out from his mouth. Roar, roar, roar. The terrifying sound was like thunder from the 9 heavens, and it was also like a dragon's roar and a tiger's roar that exploded in the 9 chasms. The rolling sound waves directly shattered the 9 chasms that were hundreds of thousands of feet high, causing the entire 9 chasms to tremble. What is this sound? What is happening in the 9 chasms? Hearing the sound of the great Tao that suddenly appeared in the 9 chasms, the crowd outside the 9 chasms was so frightened that their legs trembled and revealed a frightened expression. Some were so frightened that they sat on the ground with a pale face. In the next moment, an unforgettable scene appeared. The 9 chasms that separated the outer continent and the central continent was broken. A large number of cracks extended at a speed that was visible to the naked eye and shattered. Damn, one roar shattered the 9 chasms. Is that guy really human? Elder Bai, don't you have a feeling that the terrifying roar just now was very similar to the sound waves in the 9 chasms? The charming woman's perception was extremely high. She noticed the mystery behind Yi Chunfeng's roar and asked in astonishment. You are saying? Elder Bai's eyes widened and revealed an expression as if he had seen a ghost. If I am not wrong, he has stayed in the 9 chasms for so long. He should be comprehending the sound waves in the 9 chasms. Otherwise, with his strength, he would be able to cross the 9 chasms in an instant. The charming woman guessed. Monster, that person is definitely a monster. I really don't know where he came from. Elder Bai shook his head and was deeply shocked by Yi Chunfeng's strength. Strong, he is too strong. Looking at the 9 chasms that had been shattered by Yi Chunfeng's roar, Lu Meng revealed an expression as if he had seen a ghost. He took a few deep breaths and suppressed the shock in his heart. At this moment, he did not waste any time. He took out a golden token and embedded it in the carriage. He ordered the 3 dragon horses to suddenly speed up and charge directly into the cracked 9 chasms. Under the cover of the golden token, Lu Meng's carriage did not encounter any obstacles and easily passed through the 9 chasms. They followed closely behind Yi Chunfeng and entered a continuous mountain range in the central world that was the closest to the heaven domain, where the spiritual qi was abnormally dense and the space was even more stable. Just as Yi Chunfeng and Lu Meng were descending the mountain, the sound of an intense battle entered their ears. Following the source of the sound, Yi Chunfeng saw the woman who had passed through the 9 chasms. She wore a bright red martial arts robe and had a hot figure. She wielded the Tao of Fire to the extreme and was fiercely fighting with over a dozen martial artists who wore black armor and emitted a dense demonic qi. Although the woman's strength was extraordinary, the martial artists of the central continent were far more powerful than the outside world. They had endless methods and, coupled with their advantage in numbers, the red-clothed woman's attacks were constantly suppressed and she was in danger. Remember the website address. Sanwa Chinese Network. Chapter 1064. Stop. Before Yi Chunfeng could say anything, Lu Meng, who was staring at the red-clothed girl's fiery figure with a fervent gaze and an infatuated expression on his exquisite face, raised his arm and shouted, "Let's go!" Hearing Lu Meng's shout, the men in black armor ignored him and continued to fiercely attack the woman in red with their Tao treasures. They were determined to heavily injure her. "Damn it, are you deaf? I told you to stop, didn't you hear me?" Lu Meng held the golden token high above his head and ordered loudly like a drum. The 9 heavens divine kingdom's imperial family wants to order us around?" Looking at the golden token in Lu Meng's hand, the men in black armor surrounding the woman in red were unmoved and revealed a mocking expression. They came from the Kirin kingdom, so they naturally ignored the imperial order of the 9 heavens divine kingdom. Not to mention, Lu Meng's strength was only at the mystic beast master realm, so they disdained him. "Brother Feng Chen, can you help that girl?" Seeing that the token in his hand couldn't intimidate the Kirin kingdom, Lu Meng had no choice but to ask Yi Chunfeng for help. "Brother Lu Meng, do you know her?" Yi Chunfeng revealed a faint smile and asked. Lu Meng shook his head and said lecherously, "But if Brother Feng Chen is willing to help, we will know each other in a while." Looking at the lecherous Lu Meng, Yi Chunfeng lightly sighed in his heart and was somewhat speechless. However, Yi Chunfeng was a little surprised about his identity. Yi Chunfeng didn't expect Lu Meng to have such a great background and was actually a member of the 9 heavens divine kingdom's imperial family. Under Lu Meng's endless pleading, Yi Chunfeng revealed a trace of helplessness and said in a deep voice, "That girl, if you can't hold on, you can come to our side for protection. Stay by our side and I can guarantee that you will be fine." Hearing Yi Chunfeng's voice, the men in black armor's expression slightly changed and revealed an angry expression. However, they still had some misgivings about Lu Meng's identity and didn't attack. The woman in red with a pale face and a trace of blood flowing out of the corner of her mouth glanced at the seemingly young Yi Chunfeng. However, being proud and arrogant, she didn't ask for help and continued to deduce the Tao of Fire, clenching her teeth and bitterly persevering. What a stubborn girl! Seeing that the woman in red was unmoved, the corners of Yi Chunfeng's lips curled up slightly, revealing a look of admiration. "Brother Feng Chen, hurry up and save her. It would be a pity if such a beautiful woman was beaten up," Lu Meng urged anxiously. "Don't worry, if she can't handle it, she will ask us for help." Yi Chunfeng smiled faintly and waited patiently. Fire dance at the moment the red-clothed woman was blasted back by the joint forces of the 3 black-armored men. She gritted her teeth and disregarded the injuries on her body as she deduced the fire Tao insight to the limit and forcefully executed the strongest move she possessed now. The ceaselessly rising fire Tao insight transformed into a blazing tide of flames that burned the air with a sizzling sound, and a terrifying energy swept through the sky and burned towards the 10+ black armored men. Boom! Under the attack of the fire dance tide wave after wave, the attacks launched by the men in black armor were broken. The terrifying flame waves bombarded their bodies and sent them flying. If not for the fact that the black armor they were wearing had a strong defense that blocked most of the attack, this move would have been enough to heavily injure them, causing them to lose their ability to fight. Poof! After that single move, the red-clothed woman immediately suffered a backlash from her soul power, and all her meridians were severely damaged. Large amounts of blood sprayed out from her mouth, and if not for the long sword in her hand that was stabbed into the ground to support her weak body, she would not have been able to hold on and fell to the ground. What a strong power! After witnessing the might of the fire dance heavenly tide, Yi Chunfeng revealed a shocked expression. Based on his shrewd eyesight, the fire dance heavenly tide that the red-clothed lady executed was most likely a high-grade Dao technique. Disregarding her injuries and fighting off the dozen black-armored men, the red-clothed woman glanced at Yi Chunfeng and Lu Mang from the corner of her eyes, swallowing a pill and wanting to leave quickly. "Where do you think you are going?" Right at that moment, the two injured black-armored men gave a loud shout, slapping the beast-taming pouches hanging from their waists, releasing two level 8 heavenly beast ghost wolves, their bodies glowing with a ghostly green light, over 5 meters long, bearing their sharp fangs, pouncing towards the red-clothed woman. Seeing the two ghost wolves opening their bloody jaws to bite at her, the red-clothed woman's face changed, and she raised the sword in her hands to block. However, her injuries were too severe, and all her meridians had been torn apart by the backlash, and she could only use 10% of her full strength. She was unable to block the attacks of the two ghost wolves, and the sword she had thrust out with all her strength was also slapped away by one of the ghost wolves. Seeing the sharp teeth of the ghost wolves about to sink into her slender white neck, she prepared to use her last resort. All of a sudden, a light flashed in front of her eyes, and a blurry figure appeared behind the two ghost wolves, reaching out with both hands and grabbing their hind legs. With a sudden burst of strength, the two level 8 heavenly beast ghost wolves were thrown away, saving the red-clothed woman's life. "I did not expect you to be so stubborn, not asking us for help at the critical moment of life and death," Yi Chunfeng said softly with a faint smile as he looked at the slightly pale, pretty face of the red-clad woman, which exuded a trace of delicate beauty. I'm afraid you all are up to no good." The red-clothed woman gave a cold humph, saying in a hostile tone, "I'm afraid you have guessed wrongly." Yi Chunfeng smiled faintly and said, "With your strength, if I wanted to do anything to you, you would not be able to escape from my palms. You." Hearing Yi Chunfeng's words, the red-clothed woman's face changed, revealing a hint of nervousness. At that moment, the dozen black-armored men who had stabilized their injuries, each wielding their own Dao weapons, charged over, surrounding Yi Chunfeng. "Get lost." Yi Chunfeng turned around abruptly. A terrifying sound of the great Dao sprayed out from his mouth, like the roar of a river, as if the heavens and earth were about to explode. With a single roar, he sent them flying dozens of meters away, their eyes darkening as they fainted. "You, who the hell are you?" Seeing Yi Chunfeng's roar knocking out the dozen black-armored men, the red-clothed woman's heart was set off a huge wave, as she asked in horror, "Don't be nervous, I have no evil intentions towards you, nor do I have any ulterior motives. The reason why I saved you was because I was entrusted by my friend." Yi Chunfeng looked at the red-clothed woman's slightly panicked face and said softly, "Your friend, who is your friend?" The red-clothed woman took 2 steps back, not daring to approach Yi Chunfeng, whose strength made her afraid. "Brother Feng Chen's friend is me." At this moment, Lu Mang's rough face appeared behind Yi Chunfeng. Looking at the red-clothed woman who was still in shock, he revealed a smile that he thought was very handsome. "Who are you?" the red-clothed woman asked vigilantly. "I am your admirer." "No, I am not your admirer. Lu Meng said with a thick face, with a sincere face. Are you sick? Looking at Lu Meng's not handsome face, the red-clothed woman took 2 more steps back, and said angrily. Lu Meng looked at the red-clothed woman who seemed to be facing a great enemy, scratched his head, and said embarrassedly, Actually, I just want to ask you one thing. What is it? The red-clothed woman frowned and asked. Lu Meng said with a thick face, Can I secretly like you? Yi Chunfeng, the red-clothed woman, mobile reading website book address. In order to make it easier for you to read next time, you can click the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record, and you will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1065. Alright, stop messing around. It's not good to stay here for long. Let's leave this place first. Yi Chunfeng was speechless as he looked at the shameless Lu Meng whose skin was thicker than a city wall. Miss, your current condition is very bad. I advise you not to go down the mountain alone. Otherwise, if an accident happens, no one can save you. Also, your broken meridians must be repaired as soon as possible. Otherwise, there will be repercussions. When Yi Chunfeng saw that the heavily injured red-clothed girl was about to leave, he called out to her softly, Beauty, you should stay with us. As long as I have a breath, I won't let anyone touch you. Lu Meng patted his chest and promised, My master is on the way. If you dare to plot against me, my master will definitely turn you into ashes. Just as Yi Chunfeng said, the red-clothed girl's condition was very bad. She had to repair her broken meridians as soon as possible. Otherwise, it would affect her future cultivation. Again, if I want to plot against you, you won't be able to escape. This pill is for you. It can help you repair your broken meridians, Yi Chunfeng said indifferently. He took out a pseudo-Dao pill with strong healing power and threw it to her. Catching the pseudo-Dao pill thrown by Yi Chunfeng, the red-clothed girl hesitated again and again. Finally, she swallowed the pill into her stomach. Suddenly, a pure soul power was released from her body and flowed throughout her body. It quickly repaired her broken meridians. Beauty, let me help you to my carriage. Lu Meng stepped forward with a charming smile and said considerately, No need, I can walk by myself. The red-clothed girl really didn't like the boorish-looking Lu Meng who was covered with thick hair like a gorilla. Her body flashed slightly and avoided him. She said coldly, You ride my horse. Let's go. Yi Chunfeng led the Pegasus over and said, Looking at the Pegasus with extraordinary divine power, its mane was like snow without a trace of impurity. It had a pair of wings. The red-clothed girl immediately showed a fondness for it. After hesitating for a moment, she turned over and rode on the Pegasus. Beauty, how did you provoke those people from the Kirin kingdom? Lu Meng tried to get close to the woman in red. Looking at her delicate face, he kept flirting with her. Beauty, where are you from? Did you come to the central world to train? Beauty, what kind of man do you like? Do you think I'm strong? Although the woman in red who was silently healing ignored Lu Meng, he did not give up and continued to ask shamelessly. In the end, the woman in red was annoyed by his questions. She fiercely warned him a few times before he finally became obedient. Sigh, if this Lu Meng put all his energy into cultivation instead of picking up girls, his strength might not just be at the mystic beast ancestor realm. Yi Chunfeng was truly speechless when he thought about how Lu Meng still had 4 beautiful wives in his carriage while he pursued other girls. In the evening, Yi Chunfeng's group left the ancient trees that towered into the sky and the complicated terrain of Jiefeng Mountain. Under Lu Meng's lead, they arrived at a small town with simple folk customs to settle down and rest. Who are they? When the woman in red saw 4 extraordinarily beautiful women wearing gauze dresses and light makeup walk out of the carriage, she was startled and asked, They are my 4 new concubines. Lu Meng introduced, But if you're willing to be with me, I'll immediately divorce them and only love you. Get lost. Hearing Lu Meng's words, the woman in red was so angry that her lungs were about to explode. If it wasn't because she had yet to recover from her injuries and was afraid of Yi Chenfeng's shocking strength, she would have already gone up and choked the shameless Lu Meng to death. The night passed by quickly. The light of dawn shone on the earth. A new day had arrived. After a night of healing, the woman in red had basically repaired her broken meridians with the help of the pseudo-Dao pill that Yi Chenfeng gave her. But because of the battle at Jiefeng Mountain, she was too heavily injured. Without a few days, she would not be able to recover to her original state. Are you coming with us or separating from us here? After eating the breakfast cooked with spiritual food, Yi Chenfeng looked at the woman in red whose complexion had recovered well and asked softly, "I'll wait for my master here. She will come to pick me up soon." The woman in red took a sip of the tea with wisps of spiritual energy floating around and said softly, "In that case, let's separate here." Although the woman in red was extremely beautiful and had a very hot body, Yi Chenfeng was not interested in her and said lightly, "Beauty, you can't abandon me like this. I don't know how to live without you." Hearing that he was going to separate from the woman in red, Lu Meng held his chest and said bitterly, "Then you can go die." The woman in red glared at him and said fiercely, "Lu Meng, okay, let's meet again if fate wills it." Yi Chenfeng pulled the reluctant Lu Meng and was about to get up and leave. Suddenly, Yi Chenfeng frowned and looked outside the inn. He let go of Lu Meng and said coldly, "Those people are coming." As he spoke, Yi Chenfeng walked out of the inn with a calm expression. When he arrived outside, he saw the 12 black-armored men who were knocked unconscious by his roar yesterday. They were accompanied by 2 golden-armored men who had cold and arrogant expressions on their faces. They were emitting powerful killing intent as they blocked the inn's entrance. "2 commanders, he insulted the Kirin kingdom last night and injured us." One of the men in black armor looked at Yi Chenfeng with hatred and added fuel to the fire. "You guys have guts. You even dared to touch the people of the Kirin kingdom." One of the golden armor commanders said arrogantly, "Surrender if you know what's good for you. Otherwise, we'll kill you. Damn it, whoever dares to mess around, I'll kill their 9 generations." At this moment, Lu Meng walked out with the 9 Sky Emperor token in his hand and said domineeringly, "9 Sky Emperor token, you're from the 9 Sky Imperial family." Looking at the golden token in Lu Meng's hand, the 2 golden armor commanders' expressions changed slightly. Although they weren't from the 9 Sky Divine Kingdom, the imperial family of the 3 divine kingdoms had a high status. No matter which royal family they offended, they would be in big trouble. However, when the 2 golden-armored commanders saw the red-clothed woman and Lu Meng's 4 beautiful wives walking out at the end of the group, their eyes lit up with a trace of desire. "That's right, your grandpa Lu Meng is from the 9 Sky Divine Kingdom." Lu Meng held his head high and wanted to show off his noble status in front of the woman in red. "Humph, since when did the 9 Sky Imperial family have the surname Lu? You're obviously a fake." The 2 golden armor commanders looked at each other and communicated with each other. They came up with a plan and said coldly. Lu Meng's face darkened and said domineeringly, "Open your dog eyes and see if your grandpa Lu Meng is from the 9 Sky Imperial family." As he spoke, Lu Meng used a trump card that he rarely used. A golden-scaled puppet flew out of his ring and appeared beside him. It was shining with golden light and had extraordinary strength. A puppet refined by the 9 Sky Divine Kingdom Imperial family. Okay, sorry for offending you today." Under the intimidation of the golden-scaled puppet, the 2 golden armor commanders were scared and wanted to leave after leaving behind some threatening words. At this moment, a terrifying presence suddenly appeared and pressed down like a towering mountain. This presence was so strong that even with Yi Chenfeng's strength, he felt danger and fear. All the hair on his body stood up as if he was facing a great enemy. Mobile reading site, book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click the Save button at the bottom to record this reading. You can see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1066. Master. Feeling the horrifying aura descending from the sky, the woman in red was not frightened, but happy. She shouted at the violently tumbling sky. Watermark advertisement test. Watermark advertisement test. In the next moment, a woman in a white dress flew over. She had a noble and otherworldly temperament, and her jade-like face didn't have the slightest bit of makeup on, but she was breathtakingly beautiful. Her beautiful figure swayed as she flew over. Although Yi Chunfeng had seen many beautiful women before, he could not help but be amazed at the first sight of this woman. He was mesmerized by her beautiful face. He did not expect there to be such a beautiful woman in the world. She made people want to hug her just by looking at her. Lu Mang beside him was even more unbearable. Drool flowed out of his mouth. He looked at the beautiful woman who was getting closer and closer. He was so excited that his whole body started to tremble. If it were not for the powerful aura released by the beautiful woman, Lu Mang would have gone up to talk to her. Yilin, are you okay? The woman with holy light walked out of a painting and landed beside the woman in red. She said dotingly, Master, your disciple is fine. The woman in red shook her head and said respectfully, but your disciple was able to escape thanks to their help. Otherwise, your disciple would not be able to see you again. They wanted to do something bad to you, right? The beautiful woman looked at the masters of the Kirin kingdom, who were under great pressure and sweating on their foreheads, and said coldly, Senior, please don't be angry. This is all our fault. Please forgive us for the sake of the Kirin kingdom. We will not dare to provoke your disciple in the future. Although the beautiful woman did not reveal any killing intent and was breathtakingly beautiful, the two golden-armored commanders felt like they were facing the Grim Reaper. They lowered their posture and said, Do you think you are Qian Hongyan? Do you think I will let you go just because you want me to? The beautiful woman said calmly. But when the masters of the Kirin kingdom heard her, it was like thunder from the ninth heaven. It shook their souls and scared them. The Qian Hongyan that the beautiful woman mentioned was the current divine emperor of the Kirin kingdom. He was one of the most powerful people in the central world. Senior, please spare my life. This junior really knows his wrongs. Hearing the beautiful woman mention the name of the divine emperor of the Kirin kingdom, the masters of the Kirin kingdom were really scared. They all knelt on the ground and begged for mercy, begging her to spare their lives. You don't deserve my mercy. Looking at the Kirin kingdom's expert, who was so scared that his face was drained of blood and was begging for mercy, the beautiful woman remained unmoved and spoke without a trace of emotion. After she finished speaking, she gently waved her arm and interweaved fire patterns. In an instant they were burned to ashes. When Lu Mang witnessed the beautiful woman's ruthless method of incinerating the Kirin kingdom's experts with just a wave of her hand, he was so scared that he shivered. He quickly lowered his head and didn't dare to look directly at her beautiful face. He didn't want to infuriate her and lose his life for no reason. What a shocking technique! This kind of strength was even more terrifying than Qianling of Gojoseon. Could it be that this person was a Nirvana Heavenly Realm expert? Yi Chunfeng was also shocked by her shocking strength and guessed her strength. You saved my disciple. What kind of reward do you want? As long as you say it, I will satisfy you. The beautiful woman slowly turned around and looked at the calm Yi Chunfeng and the sweaty Lu Mang. She spoke without a trace of emotion. Senior, don't worry about it, Lu Mang said in fear. Seeing her shocking strength, Lu Mang didn't dare to ask for a reward, nor did he dare to look directly at her. However, Yi Chunfeng, who had the Qiankuan realm, was not afraid of her. He thought for a moment and said, Since Senior has asked, then I won't hold back. I want the ancient heaven Xian vine, the phoenix blood Ganoderma and the sun god flower. Do you have them? No, I have never heard of any of the three things you asked for. The beautiful woman frowned slightly and looked at Yi Chunfeng with a different kind of charm. She said lightly, Change your conditions. In this case, I don't need any reward. Yi Chunfeng shook his head and said, "Think about it. In the entire Duhan continent, not just anyone is qualified to talk about rewards with me, Yenryu." The peerless beauty slowly said. Her voice was filled with a domineering aura that said, "Who else but me can do it?" Senior Yenryu was the #1 beauty of the Central World, Yenryu. As a member of the royal family of the Nine Heavens Divine Kingdom, Lu Mang had heard of her name and knew what kind of existence she was in the kingdom. Even though she was a vagrant cultivator, because of her beauty, she had countless pursuers. Thus, her status in the Central World was very special. Even the 3 godly kings didn't dare to offend her. Rumor had it that the godly kings of the Nine Heavens Divine Kingdom were all her pursuers. However, Yenryu's standards were very high, so no one was able to win her heart. "My time is limited. I will give you 10 breaths of time to consider. After 10 breaths, I will leave," Yenryu said coldly. "Thank you for your kindness. Junior will give up on the reward." Yi Chunfeng glanced at Yenryu's beautiful face and said without hesitation, "I will also give up." After knowing Yenryu's identity, Lu Mang was even more pressured by her aura. He lowered his head and said, "Since that's the case, I won't force you." After saying that, Yenryu didn't hesitate and flew away with the red-clothed woman, disappearing into the horizon in the blink of an eye. "Brother Lu Mang, let's go as well." After Yenryu and the red-clothed woman flew away, Yi Chunfeng and the rest didn't stay any longer. They left the small town that was completely silent due to Yenryu's aura. Just as Yi Chunfeng and the rest left the small town, Yi Chunfeng, who was riding on a Pegasus, glanced at an ancient tree in the northwest part of the town. It had luxuriant leaves and was emitting traces of spiritual energy. Just as Yi Chunfeng and the rest left, 3 figures appeared behind the ancient tree. These 3 were all level 5 combat beast emperors. They were also big shots in the Central World. "Brother Lu Mang, since you have the golden scaled puppet, I won't protect you anymore. Let's part ways here." It was inconvenient to stay by Lu Mang's side. After leaving this simple town, Yi Chunfeng wanted to say goodbye and leave. "Wait for Brother Fengchen, let me bring you to a good place first." Lu Mang squinted his small eyes and said with an ambiguous smile, "Where is it?" Looking at Lu Mang's boorish face, Yi Chunfeng frowned and asked. "You'll know when you get there," Lu Mang said in a deliberately mystifying manner. "Also, that place is very well informed, and there are countless treasures that come in every day. If Brother Fengchen wants to buy alchemy ingredients, you can try your luck there." "Alright, I'll go take a look." After thinking for a while, Yi Chunfeng nodded. He rode on his Pegasus and followed behind Lu Mang's carriage, which was extremely excited. They galloped on the straight road. After 3 days of traveling, they entered the Nine Heavens Divine Kingdom. At the edge of the Nine Heavens Divine Kingdom, Yi Chunfeng saw a city far away. The city's scale far exceeded that of the outer continent. There was a huge formation floating in the sky. Due to the influence of the formation in the sky, Yi Chunfeng couldn't see the city clearly. However, such a huge city still gave him a great shock. They finally arrived at the Nightless City. Looking at the huge city in the distance, Lu Mang's eyes lit up. He rode on the 3 dragon horses and led Yi Chunfeng into the bustling and luxurious Nightless City. Mobile reading website, book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this book. You will be able to read it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1067. Haha, Nightless City, I, Lu Mang, am here again. With the 9 Heavens Emperor token in hand, Lu Mang brought Yi Chunfeng into Nightless City without paying any fees. Although Yi Chunfeng knew that the scale of the cities in the Central World far exceeded that of the outer continent, he was still stunned by the scene before him when he entered Nightless City. Within Nightless City, there were towering buildings hundreds of meters tall that reached into the clouds. A mountain range that stretched for an unknown number of miles circled around Nightless City. and on the cliffs of this mountain range, there were magnificent buildings built with uncanny craftsmanship. Streams of spiritual chi flowed down from these buildings like the Milky Way. It was a spectacular sight, and on the wide streets, there were outstanding young geniuses everywhere. If these young geniuses were placed in the outer continents, they would definitely be the most outstanding successors of their respective sections. But in Nightless City, they seemed a bit ordinary. The central world was truly worthy of being the continent closest to the heaven domain. It produced extraordinary geniuses. Looking at the majestic buildings in Nightless City, the geniuses on the streets, and the rich spiritual chi in the air, Yi Chunfeng couldn't help but sigh. One could imagine that in this environment, one's cultivation speed would be at least 10 times faster than outside. Adding on the countless years of inheritance, even a mediocre person could become a peerless king in the central continent, let alone those peak geniuses. How is it, Brother Fengchen? This Nightless City isn't bad, right? Lu Mang narrowed his eyes and scanned the street. Every time he saw a voluptuous woman wearing revealing clothes, he would reveal an excited expression. Not bad, Yi Chunfeng nodded. Although Nightless City was at the edge of the 9 heavens divine kingdom, it was very famous in the entire divine kingdom. Here, as long as you had enough soul crystals, you could be the emperor. Furthermore, Nightless City was a famous trading city in the 9 heavens divine kingdom. Many rare items could appear here. There were even rumors that someone had once traded for a Gu Dao treasure here. Let's go, we'll find a place to rest first. Tonight, I'll take you to the Water Moon Pavilion to broaden your horizons. I guarantee you'll have so much fun that you'll forget about home. Brother Lu Mang, you find a place to stay first. I'll go out for a stroll. See you tonight. Yi Chunfeng was a little interested in the Nightless City. He wanted to fish for treasures here and inquire about the 3 main ingredients for refining the heavenly sacred breaking pellet. There were too many brothels and casinos in Nightless City. After separating from Lu Mang, Yi Chunfeng kept the heaven horse into the universe realm and strolled around the Nightless City alone. He discovered that the Nightless City was filled with brothels and casinos. Even during the day, there were still many gorgeously dressed women standing outside the brothel, wearing revealing clothes and throwing flirtatious glances to attract business. However, Yi Chunfeng wholeheartedly pursued the supreme Great Tao and had seen too many stunning beauties. Thus, the beauties in the brothels were not attractive to him. Soon, he arrived at a pagoda-shaped building in Nightless City. There were 2 white jade lions sitting at the entrance. It was an extremely noisy treasure building. Although the treasures in the central continent far surpassed those in the outside world, ordinary treasures were no longer enough to catch Yi Chunfeng's eye. Furthermore, the 3 main ingredients required to concoct the heavenly saint breaking pellet were too rare. He went to 3 treasure pavilions in a row and didn't find anything. However, when he was strolling around the treasure buildings, he inadvertently heard a lot of interesting news. Among them, the 9 heavens divine nation announced to the world that the 3rd prince, Di Feiyang, stood out from the other princes and became the emperor of the 9 heavens divine nation. This news aroused his interest even more, and Lu Mang did not hesitate to rush back from the other continents. It should be to participate in Di Feiyang's grand ceremony. Apart from Di Feiyang becoming the emperor of the 9 heavens, for the news of the emperor of the 9 heavens divine nation, Yi Chunfeng also heard a piece of news that interested him. That was, the Sky Hall was preparing to hold the highest-scale alchemy and blacksmithing competition. At that time, the alchemy and blacksmithing experts of the 3 divine nations and many hidden families would participate. In the evening, Yi Chunfeng received a message from Lu Mang. Outside a brightly lit and luxuriously decorated brothel called the Shueyue Brothel, he saw Lu Mang, who was dressed up and wearing gorgeous clothes and holding a folding fan of mountains and rivers. Brother Fengchen, you're finally here. If you didn't come, we wouldn't have been able to find any good girls. Seeing Yi Chunfeng slowly walking over in the night, Lu Mang immediately went up to him and impatiently pulled him into the Shueyue Brothel, which was filled with the fragrance of cosmetics. "Oh, isn't this young Master Lu? You haven't been here for a long time. Come in quickly." Yi Chunfeng and Lu Mang had just walked into the Shuiyu brothel when a beautiful woman wearing a bright red gauze dress with a voluptuous figure noticed them and walked over. Although this beautiful woman's appearance could not be considered to be devastatingly beautiful, the charm that she unconsciously exuded was enough to cause one's heart to waver. "Sister May, quickly arrange a private room for me and find a few girls to drink with us. If we have fun today, I'll reward you heavily." Lu Mang very skillfully rubbed the beautiful woman's buttocks as he narrowed his eyes and said in a rich and overbearing manner, "He, no problem. Tonight, I guarantee that young Master Lu will be as happy as an immortal and forget about home." The beautiful woman lightly slapped Lu Mang's hand away and said with a charming smile. She hugged Lu Mang's arm and personally brought them to an elegantly decorated room that was filled with the faint scent of orchids. There were tables, chairs, beds, and cabinet. In just a short while, more than 10 beautiful women wearing white gauze dresses and light makeup appeared in the room. Because they had received special training, every frown and smile of theirs inadvertently revealed a shy and coquettish expression. Their eyes flashed with charm and their bright red lips attracted Lu Mang's heart like poison, making it difficult for him to look away after seeing them. Other than their charm, they also had decent strength. These 10 women were all in the mystic beast ancestor realm. 2 of them were even higher than Lu Mang, who was a level 4 mystic beast ancestor. With their talent and strength, if they were in the outer continent, they would definitely be princess-like figures with countless suitors. But here they could only throw away their modesty, take off their clothes, and reveal their sexiness and passion to serve the guests who chose them. They were ready to be attacked at any time. "Not bad, not bad. These girls are not bad. I like all of them. Let them all stay." Lu Mang looked at the 10 young women with shining eyes and said very heroically, "Thank you, young Master Lu," she said softly, seducing Lu Mang's soul. "Come over here and let me see. After you serve us 2 brothers, I will reward you heavily," Lu Mang said heroically. Although Lu Mang was rich and overbearing, and was very extravagant, Yi Chunfeng, who was very handsome, attracted the favor of these women. However, when they approached Yi Chunfeng and teased him, they inexplicably felt Yi Chunfeng's killing intent. They were so scared that they trembled and their faces turned pale. "Brother Lu Mang, you play by yourself. I'll go take a look." Yi Chunfeng really did not have the slightest interest in these women wearing revealing clothes, so he got up and left. Looking at Yi Chunfeng's departing figure, Lu Mang helplessly shook his head. However, he was completely captivated by the women in front of him. His interest was completely aroused and he did not chase after him. Just as Lu Mang was excitedly playing games with these women that made his whole body boil, he did not know that danger was slowly approaching him. Mobile reading home, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Eightfold Sword Deity. Chapter 1068. The sound of the zither, what a beautiful zither sound. Leaving the Shuiyu Tower, which was filled with the smell of extravagance and wine, Yi Chunfeng suddenly heard a soothing, melodious sound of the zither. It sounded like a slow stream in the back pavilion of the Shuiyu Tower, spreading slowly under the night sky. Watermark advertisement test the sound of the Great Tao. The sound of the zither contained the sound of the Great Tao. After listening carefully for a while, Yi Chunfeng unexpectedly found that his soul resonated with the sound of the zither from afar. He actually felt the sound of the Great Tao in the sound of the zither. Suddenly, the melodious sound of the zither became hurried, sharp, and high-spirited, like thousands of soldiers and horses galloping in the void, like surging waves slapping on submerged reefs, bringing Yi Chunfeng into the zone. The god-eating brain involuntarily operated, The pattern of the great Tao appeared in his mind, slowly merging with the sound of the zither and resonating with it. In the zither music, Yi Chunfeng saw flowing light and shadows, touching the song of the wind and the elegance of the moon. There were 1,000 words, endless Tao, and the same logic. Just as Yi Chunfeng was immersed in the sound of the zither, the sound of the great Tao flashing in his mind became more and more in sync with the sound of the zither. When his body and mind were integrated into the music, sometimes it was tactful and continuous, sometimes it shook the forest, and sometimes it suddenly stopped, waking Yi Chunfeng up in the sound of the zither. Gone, why did the sound of the zither suddenly disappear? Yi Chunfeng frowned tightly, and an indescribable feeling of discomfort arose in his heart. He had a feeling that if he continued to listen, his understanding of the sound of the great Tao would rise to a higher level, and even his soul could be sublimated. But at this critical moment, the sound of the zither that resonated with his soul and the sound of the great Tao disappeared, which made him a little distressed and depressed, hesitating whether to find the person who played the zither or not. At this moment, an elegant and pleasant woman wearing an emerald green silk dress and light makeup slowly walked over in the dark night. She sized up Yi Chunfeng, who was standing by the lakeside with a tall and straight figure and a trace of heroic spirit. She said neither coldly nor warmly, "You must be the one who resonated with me." "Mississippi?" Yi Chunfeng asked softly as he looked at the young but peerlessly beautiful woman in a green dress with a hint of arrogance in her eyes. "If you are the one who resonates, come with me. Our young lady invites you." After she finished speaking, the woman in green no longer paid any attention to Yi Chunfeng. She turned around and walked towards the rear pavilion of the Shui building. Although the woman in the green dress was a little rude, Yi Chunfeng did not mind. He followed her along a winding path and passed through a thin layer of spatial restrictions. They arrived at a very elegant and antique wooden pavilion by the side of a green bamboo. There was a stream flowing beside it. Before Yi Chunfeng could walk into the wooden pavilion, the sound of the guqin that had suddenly disappeared rang out again. It was as if it came from the depths of the mountains and valleys, flowing into Yi Chunfeng's mind and resonating with the sound of the great path that he had comprehended. The sound of the zither came and went quickly. Before Yi Chunfeng could finish, a woman wearing a white qipao embroidered with lotus roots appeared at the entrance of the wooden pavilion. The woman was very beautiful. Her eyebrows were as delicate as crescent moons, her nose was high, and her pink lips carried a fatal temptation. Every frown and smile of hers was extremely charming. Her figure was even more perfect. Under the contrast of the qipao, her curves rose and fell, outlining a beautiful arc that would make one dizzy. "Luoyu greets young master. I was neglectful just now, so I hope young master won't take offense." Hua Luoyu looked at Yi Chunfeng with a gentle gaze. Her voice was like an oriole flying out of a valley, clear and moving. "No." Looking at Hua Luoyu's devastatingly beautiful appearance, Yi Chunfeng softly replied, "Young master is my fated person, so I asked Chui to invite young master here. Does young master have time to exchange the sound of the great path with me?" Looking at Yi Chunfeng's clear eyes, Hua Luoyu revealed a charming smile and softly asked, "Of course, I also want to ask for guidance," so Yi Chunfeng happily said, "Chui brew me a pot of green tea before the rain. Young master, please come inside." Hua Luoyu's attitude was very humble as she personally invited Yi Chunfeng into the wooden pavilion. So fragrant. Walking into the wooden pavilion, Yi Chunfeng immediately smelled the unique fragrance of a woman floating in the air. The milky white jade inlaid on the wall and the two spiritual plants placed in the corner of the room added spirituality to the room. The exquisitely carved bed inlaid with jade, the display furnishings made of ancient wood, and the floating furnace made the room even more simple and quiet. However, what attracted Yi Chunfeng's attention the most was indeed placed under the window. A 7-stringed guqin was covered with ancient patterns, and from the aura emitted by the guqin, this guqin was suspected to be a top-grade Taoist instrument. "Young master, please sit," Hua Luoyu said softly. Then she walked to a basin of cold spring water. After washing her hands, she sat beside the Guqin. Young master, can you tell me your name? Yi Chunfeng. Yi Chunfeng said without hiding anything. Yi Chunfeng. Hua Luoyu carefully read Yi Chunfeng's name and asked, Young master, how many layers of the sound of the Great Path have you comprehended? I just came into contact with the sound of the Great Path not long ago. I only comprehended the third layer of heaven, Yi Chunfeng said truthfully. But he did not say that although Yi Chunfeng's comprehension of the sound of the Great Path was shallow, with the help of the God-Eater brain, he could integrate other Tao intents into the sound of the Great Path and increase the power of the sound of the Great Path. At the third layer of the sound of the Great Path, Hua Luoyu muttered to herself, Young master, a few years ago, I obtained an ancient song by chance. I would like to ask young master to give me a few pointers. Pointers are out of the question, but we can discuss it. Yi Chunfeng smiled slightly. Young master, please listen. Hua Luoyu's slender white fingers lightly brushed the strings of the Guqin. The beautiful sound of the Guqin flowed into Yi Chunfeng's heart like a cheerful stream, intoxicating him. While Hua Luoyu was playing the Guqin, Yi Chunfeng closed his eyes. The God-Eater brain quickly deduced and formed a large number of patterns of the Great Path. It merged with the soft sound of Hua Luoyu's Guqin and resonated with it, forming a large number of visions in the room. Affected by the musical vision, Hua Luoyu's calm face showed a trace of excitement. She slowly closed her eyes, playing the Guqin and comprehending it. Cui, who was standing at the door with a teapot, was even more fascinated by the sound of the Guqin. She followed the sound of the Guqin, which was sometimes melodious, sometimes sad, sometimes deep and sometimes gentle. Buzz, buzz, buzz. No one knew how long had passed. Was it a night, a day, or a century? Yi Chunfeng and Hua Luoyu's souls trembled at the same time. Both of them were sublimated. This song should only be in the sky. It was rare to hear it in the human world. When the song ended, they woke up. Yi Chunfeng couldn't help but praise Hua Luoyu, who was bathed in the moonlight. She was like a fairy who had fallen into the mortal world. After the resonance just now, Yi Chunfeng had gained a lot. Not only did his soul sublimate, but his comprehension of the Great Path's sound also rose to a new level. Young master praised Hua Luoyu too much. Hua Luoyu smiled charmingly. Just now, when I resonated with young master, I also perfected the Great Path's sound. Young lady's comprehension of the Great Path's sound is indeed astonishing. However, I feel that there is a flaw. Yi Chunfeng took a sip of the spirit tea that Cui poured for him and slowly said. Hua Luoyu's eyes lit up and she said modestly, Young Lady Luoyu, listen carefully. I will use the Great Path's sound to play a song. Yi Chunfeng slowly closed his eyes. The God-Eater brain rapidly deduced. The patterns of the Great Path's sound quickly fused together and played a song that made one's blood boil. The hurried Great Path's sound was like 10,000 arrows being shot at the same time. A large number of visions appeared in front of Hua Luoyu's eyes. However, these visions were completely different from the visions that appeared when Hua Luoyu played the Great Path's sound. The visions that appeared when Yi Chunfeng played the Great Path's sound were like purgatory in the mortal world. Countless creatures were fighting and countless lives were being annihilated. Feeling that Hua Luoyu's comprehension of the Great Path's sound wasn't enough, Yi Chunfeng played a song of life and death for her. Mobile reading site, book address. In order to make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1069. The moonlight was like notes dancing on the strings of a zither, flowing like clouds and flowing water, passionate like a song or a weeping. Watermark advertisement testing the life and death movement that Yi Chunfeng deduced using the sound of Tao. Hua Luoyu found her own shortcomings, which was not enough killing. The path of Tao is like walking through thorns and thorns. Without enough killing, one will inevitably be covered with cuts and bruises. Thank you for your advice, Luoyu will remember. Finding her own shortcomings, Hua Luoyu could not hide her excitement. She gently got up and bowed deeply to Yi Chunfeng to express her gratitude. Miss Luoyu is too polite. We are just exchanging views, not giving advice. Yi Chunfeng smiled slightly and said neither arrogantly nor humbly. Friends are easy to find, soulmates are hard to find. I wonder if Gongzi is interested in admiring this bright moon with me? Hua Luoyu smiled sweetly and invited softly. More than I could ask for. Yi Chunfeng slowly got up and followed Hua Luoyu to the wooden pavilion. He found that there was an exquisite garden built here, the fragrance of flowers overflowed everywhere. In the middle of the garden, there were 2 rocking chairs exuding traces of spiritual energy. Gongzi Yi, you are the first person I invited here to admire the moon. Hua Luoyu looked at Yi Chunfeng's delicate and pretty face and smiled charmingly. She very generously lay down on one of the rocking chairs, looking at the bright moon and the stars in the sky. Perhaps I will also be the last person. Yi Chunfeng lay down beside Hua Luoyu, looking at her exquisite and peerless face, and said softly, Why did he say that? Hua Luoyu gently turned her head and looked at Yi Chunfeng's clear eyes at close proximity. Because I guess Miss will leave here soon and may not come back. Yi Chunfeng said with a smile. Gongzi Yi is indeed Luoyu's soulmate, knowing my heart. Hua Luoyu bloomed with a smile that was 3 times more beautiful than flowers and said, I came here to comprehend the 100 forms of life and perfect my sound of Tao. Now that I have achieved my goal, I will naturally leave. Alright, Gongzi Yi, why did you come here? Could it be to indulge in wine and merrymaking? Hua Luoyu asked slyly. I was dragged here by a friend. Yi Chunfeng explained with a wry smile. Really? Hua Luoyu revealed a hint of a little woman's attitude and said, All right, I won't tease you anymore. How about we resonate with the sound of the great Tao? I really like that feeling of leaning against each other. Okay, Yi Chunfeng also enjoyed this feeling and nodded in agreement. In a large amount of markings of the grand Tao appeared in their minds, and they fused together to form a beautiful and lively sound of the grand Tao. It was like a stream that flowed slowly in their hearts, and it was gentle, beautiful, and intoxicating. Just as the 2 of them were immersed in this wonderful feeling, there was a violent explosion and a woman's scream. The next moment, Yi Chunfeng suddenly opened his eyes and sat up on the recliner. How about it, young Master Yi? Hua Luoyu suddenly woke up. She looked at Yi Chunfeng, who had an ugly expression and was emitting a dense cold aura, and asked softly. My friend is in trouble. Yi Chunfeng said in a low voice as a stern look flashed in his deep eyes. Can I help you? Hua Luoyu's expression was also ugly. No one would be happy to be interrupted by someone for no reason. It's just a clown, I can deal with it myself. Yi Chunfeng stood up and revealed a trace of domineering aura. Miss Luohua, I'm sure we'll meet again if fate wills it. After speaking, Yi Chunfeng stepped into the air and cut through the dark night at an astonishing speed. He locked onto the 3 level 5 combat beast emperors who were holding Lu Mang hostage and flew out of the nightless city and chased after them. Damn it, you have a lot of guts, daring to kidnap me in the 9 heavens divine nation. If you know what's good for you, quickly let me go. Otherwise, I will definitely turn your bones into ashes and exterminate your 9 generations. Lu Mang, who was only wearing a pair of flowery underpants and was bound by a chain made of special materials, cursed angrily while struggling. A burly masked man revealed a trace of sarcasm and said, If you talk nonsense again, I'll cut your tongue and turn you into a mute. Damn it, cut my tongue if you dare. If you don't, you're my grandson, my grandson. Lu Mang ignored the warning of the masked man and cursed at the top of his voice. Big brother, let me cut his tongue. A thin man couldn't hold back the anger in his heart and said with a sharp dagger in his hand. Let's wait for a while, wait until we get the method to unseal the golden scale puppet. It won't be too late to kill him then. The leader of the masked men transmitted his voice and controlled the Tao patterns to seal his voice. The reason why they kidnapped Lu Mang was because of Lu Mang's golden scale puppet. However, the golden scale puppet was refined by the 9 Heavens Divine Nation's royal family. It contained a unique seal. If they didn't know how to unseal it, they wouldn't be able to refine and control it. Just as the 3 of them were holding Lu Mang hostage and flying rapidly in the void, an ear-piercing sound entered their ears and approached them at an astonishing speed. Not good, it's that person is chasing after us. Feeling that the person behind them was getting faster and faster, the 3 masked men's expression changed slightly. They brought the tied-up Lu Mang and flew into a mountain range shrouded in the dark night. They wanted to use the complicated terrain of the mountain range to shake off Yi Chunfeng. However, Yi Chunfeng's soul spirit had just been refined and was much stronger. The 3 masked men tried everything, but they couldn't shake off his pursuit. The 3 of them brought Lu Mang and hid in a quiet mountain stream. Yi Chunfeng used his sword steps and descended from the sky, directly blocking their path. "Don't be reckless, if you dare to come near us, I will immediately twist his neck." Feeling the killing intent and pressure from Yi Chunfeng, the 3 of them felt like they were being stared at by a venomous snake. Cold lights stood up on their bodies, and they used Lu Mang's life to threaten Yi Chunfeng. As soon as the leading masked man finished speaking, the soul power in Yi Chunfeng's mind exploded like a heavy hammer into his sea of soul, creating a strong dizziness and slowing down his reaction. When he came back to his senses, Yi Chunfeng appeared in front of him. A powerful will of the Wei burst forth and bombarded the 3 of them, breaking through their defenses. The 3 of them were unable to react in time and were sent flying, saving Lu Mang. "Wait, we have something to say." Seeing Yi Chunfeng's amazing strength, the 3 of them showed a trace of fear and shouted loudly. "Do you have any last words?" Yi Chunfeng's fingers slightly exerted force and broke the ropes binding Lu Mang's body. Looking at the 3 masked men who were panicking, he said without a trace of emotion, "The reason why we held him hostage was to borrow his golden-scaled puppet to go to a dangerous place to obtain a treasure. If you are willing to let us go, we are willing to share the secret with you." In order to survive, the 3 of them had to reveal a big secret to Yi Chunfeng. Yi Chunfeng's expression didn't change as he said, "What kind of treasure is it?" "We don't know what kind of treasure it is, but it is said that the treasure in the dangerous place is related to the ancient Zhou family that disappeared tens of thousands of years ago," the leading masked man said. Was the Zhou family very strong in the past? Yi Chunfeng didn't know much about the Zhou family, so he asked in a low voice. At that time, the Zhou family was at its peak, with a Nirvana Heavenly Realm Master overseeing it. Moreover, the Zhou family was a hidden family, and no one knew where they hid. The Zhou family had several great treasures, enough to make Nirvana Heavenly Realm Masters jealous. The leading masked man said exaggeratedly, "Let's go, take me to see it." Knowing the Zhou family's strength, Yi Chunfeng had a trace of interest in the Zhou family's treasures and ordered in a low voice, "Sir, the treasure in the dangerous place is something we spent a lot of effort to find out, so we can only give you one." The leading masked man braced himself and raised the condition. "Okay, but I want to pick first." Yi Chunfeng nodded and said in an irresistible tone, "Okay, we will let you pick first, but I hope you will keep your promise." After seeing Yi Chunfeng's strength, the masked man also knew that he couldn't make Yi Chunfeng swear, so he didn't waste his breath and led him and the cursing Lu Mang to the dangerous place. Mobile reading website, book address. In order to make it easier for you to read next time, you can click the Save button at the bottom to record this reading. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1070. After traveling for 2 days, Yi Chunfeng's group arrived at a mountain range covered with black rock. The temperature was extremely high, and there was almost no vegetation. What a high temperature. Is this the dangerous place you were talking about? Looking at the complicated and hot environment ahead, Yi Chunfeng frowned and asked. Yes. After asking around, we found out that the Zhou family's treasures were stolen and thrown into an active volcano. If we want to get them, we have to go deep into the volcano's magma. The leader nodded and said, but the temperature of the volcano's magma is extremely high, enough to burn an ordinary level 6 combat beast emperor into ashes. We had no choice but to kidnap young Master Lu and use his golden-scaled puppet to get the treasures. Damn it, you 3 bastards. Do you know that I was having fun? There were so many beautiful and alluring ladies. Couldn't you wait a little longer and kidnap me after I was done? Do you think it was easy for me to come to Nightless City? Lu Meng roared furiously. Sorry, young Master Lu. This is all our fault. We will be more careful next time. Looking at Lu Meng, who was so angry that he had the urge to strangle them, the 3 of them were speechless and kept apologizing. There will be a next time. Lu Meng was furious. No, there won't be a next time. The 3 of them were afraid of Yi Chunfeng's strength, so they could only swallow their anger and promise. Don't think that this is the end of it. If I get impotent because of you, I swear I will destroy your entire family, Lu Meng said while grinding his teeth. While Lu Meng was yelling and intimidating, Yi Chunfeng's group flew to the mouth of an active volcano that was thousands of meters high and emitted fiery heat waves. Young Master Feng, according to the information we received, the Zhou family's treasures are in the magma of this active volcano. The leader stood at the mouth of the volcano and pointed at the boiling hot magma that was hot enough to melt a low-grade Dao artifact. As expected of the central continent, magma of this temperature can't be seen in the outer continent. Feeling the temperature of the magma, Yi Chunfeng was slightly surprised. He was amazed by the natural environment of the central continent, which was not comparable to the outer continents. Young Master Lu, we are counting on you. The leader suppressed the anger in his heart and said politely, Get out of my way. Lu Meng glared at the 3 men who ruined his plan and walked to the crater of the volcano. He summoned his trump card, the golden-scaled puppet, which was comparable to a level 5 beast emperor, and jumped into the boiling magma. Suddenly, a deafening roar of a beast resounded, and the boiling lava began to surge. A giant snake that was over 10 meters long, covered in dark red scales, and with a sharp horn flashed in the magma. It opened its bloody mouth and attacked the golden-scaled puppet, fighting with it in the magma. Not good, the heavenly beast in the lava is almost a level 9 heavenly beast. My golden-scaled puppet is in trouble. Lu Meng's expression changed slightly when he sensed that the golden-scaled puppet was being greatly hindered and forced to retreat under the attacks of the lava snakes. Whoosh! Yi Chunfeng's powerful soul pierced through the magma and locked onto the ferocious magma snake. With a tap of his finger, the purple beginning's holy thunder burst forth and flew into the violently churning magma. Roar! Attacked by the purple beginning's holy thunder, the lava snake cried out in pain. The purple beginning's holy thunder tore through its defenses like a hot knife through butter, injuring it. Then Yi Chunfeng pressed down with his finger, and pointed out a second time, shooting purple beginning's holy lightning at it. Experiencing the terror of the purple beginning's holy thunder, the lava snake was so frightened that it quickly dodged, fleeing towards the bottom of the magma, giving up on attacking the golden-scaled puppet. Heavenly thunder! He has subdued a type of heavenly thunder! The 3 black-clad men had limited knowledge, and did not recognize the grade of the purple beginning's holy thunder. They thought that Yi Chunfeng had just shot out a heavenly thunder, and their eyes revealed a hint of greed. Without the lava snake blocking it, the golden-scaled puppet quickly dived into the depths of the magma, searching for the Zhou clan's treasures scattered in the magma. While the golden-scaled puppet was searching for treasures in the magma, Yi Chunfeng sat cross-legged beside the crater of the volcano, quietly adjusting his breathing and waiting. While Yi Chunfeng was adjusting his breathing, his sharp senses detected a trace of abnormality. He frowned slightly, but he did not open his eyes and continued to adjust his breathing and wait. After more than 6 hours, the golden-scaled puppet, which had a small portion of its scales melted by the magma, flew out of the magma with the 3 treasures and returned to the crater of the volcano. Damn, these are the Zhou clan's treasures that you were talking about? Is the Zhou clan so poor? Seeing the golden-scaled puppet holding a piece of black metal that did not have any special features, an unusually sharp black dagger that was covered with ancient patterns, and a long rod that was full of holes and had snake patterns carved on it, as well as the damage done to the golden-scaled puppet, Lu Meng was so angry that he cursed loudly. If not for the fact that he could not defeat the 3 of them, Lu Meng would have strangled them to death. Metal piece, dagger, and long rod. Yi Chunfeng looked at the 3 items in the golden-scaled puppet's arms and used the God-Eater brain to sense them. The metal piece is a low-grade Dao artifact, while the dagger and long rod are mid-grade Dao artifacts. After sensing for a while, Yi Chunfeng frowned. Although low-grade and mid-grade Dao artifacts were extremely precious in the outer continent, they were not rare in the central continent. They had nothing to do with the inheritance treasures of the reclusive family clans, not to mention that the reclusive family clans had Nirvana Heavenly Realm old monsters. At this moment, Yi Chunfeng also felt like he was being toyed with. However, after thinking about it, he rejected his own thoughts. If it was just these 3 treasures, it would not be worth the 3 of them taking such a huge risk to kidnap Lu Meng, a member of the 9 Heavens Divine Kingdom's imperial family. Moreover, Yi Chunfeng did not see any dejection or disappointment on their faces. Young Master Feng, we will fulfill our promise. You can choose first from these 3 treasures. The remaining 2 belong to us. The leader looked at Yi Chunfeng's frown, smiled slightly, and said generously, "All right." Yi Chunfeng nodded and walked to the side of the golden-scaled puppet. He reached out and touched the 3 treasures one by one. He controlled the God-Eater brain to sense the 3 treasures and observed the expressions of the 3 men. When Yi Chunfeng picked up the most ordinary-looking black metal piece that looked like a brick, he could clearly feel that the 3 men were a little cautious. It was obvious that they valued this black metal piece very much. If I had known that the Zhou clan only had these 3 treasures, I would not have cooperated with you. Yi Chunfeng coldly said, "Forget it, I will take this black metal piece as a souvenir." When they heard that Yi Chunfeng had chosen the lowest grade black metal piece, the 3 men's expressions changed slightly. The leader smiled and said, "Young Master Feng, do not reconsider. Of the 3 treasures, only the metal piece in young Master's hand is a low-grade Dao artifact. Only this black metal piece is pleasing to the eye. I will not exchange it." Looking at the 3 men's expressions, Yi Chunfeng confirmed his guess. This black metal piece should be hiding some secret. It is all thanks to young Master Feng and young Master Lu that we can obtain these 3 treasures. The leader said straightforwardly, "How about this, young Master Yi? Give this metal piece to me, and I will give young Master Yi a mid-grade defensive Dao artifact. I will not exchange it." Yi Chunfeng shook his head and said coldly. Under the unwilling gaze of the 3 men, he kept the black metal piece in the universe mirror. "Brother Lu Meng, let's go." After saying that, Yi Chunfeng did not hesitate and was about to leave with the cursing Lu Meng. Suddenly, a tall and sturdy man wearing a black robe appeared. His entire body exuded a powerful, oppressive aura. His jet-black long hair fluttered in the wind, and he held a heavy sword in his hand. He blocked Yi Chunfeng's path. Remember the URL. Sanwu Chinese Network. Chapter 1071. Level 6 Beast Emperor. Looking at the black-clothed man who was slowly walking over with an increasingly powerful aura, Yi Chunfeng's pupils could not help but shrink into the most dangerous pinholes. Just now, when he closed his eyes to adjust his breathing, he felt the black-clothed man hiding in the dark. This was also the reason why Yi Chunfeng insisted that these 3 seemingly ordinary treasures had other secret. "Xing, I didn't want to kill you, but you really don't know what's good for you." The black-clothed man emitted a mountain-like pressure, looked at Yi Chunfeng coldly and arrogantly, and said coldly, "So I can only send you to the Yellow Springs with my own hands. You don't have the confidence to kill me, right?" Yi Chunfeng sneered and said, "With your character, if you have the confidence to get rid of us, why would you hide in the dark and waste so much time and effort? Xing, to be honest, I really don't want to be enemies with you, but the black iron in your hand is very important to me." Being seen through by Yi Chunfeng, the black-clothed man was not angry, and said coldly, "How about this? I'll take a step back and use 3 mid-grade Dao tools to exchange for the black iron in your hand. How about it?" "What, the value of this black iron is so high?" Yi Chunfeng sneered and said, "Then I won't exchange it. Xing, I admit that you are very strong, but I still have the means to kill you. I advise you to be smart, don't lose your life for an external object," the black-clothed man said with a gloomy face. A barbarian elephant phantom, the size of a small hill, came out of his body and roared at Yi Chunfeng and Xing, "Don't talk nonsense, if you want to fight, then let's fight." Yi Chunfeng took out a mid-grade Dao tool, the sky halberd that weighed 300,000 jin, and pointed it at the black-clothed man with an ugly expression, and said in an overbearing manner, "Good, good, good. Since you want to die, then I'll help you." The black-clothed man looked at Yi Chunfeng, who pointed the sky halberd at him, and was completely enraged. The berserk barbarian elephant merged into his body. He held the mid-grade Dao tool heavy sword and slashed at Yi Chunfeng. 9 transformations. The energy in Yi Chunfeng's 5 acupoints exploded forth. The surging energy was like a surging tide, gushing into the ancient halberd. It stimulated the offensive runes within the halberd as it met the attack head-on. Boom! When the 2 treasures collided, a terrifying energy radiance burst out, and a powerful rebounding force swept out like a stormy sea. After the first strike, Yi Chunfeng continued to explode forth with astonishing strength. The ancient halberd in his hand hacked down ferociously. The black-robed man, who had the strength of a barbarian elephant, fought intensely. The destructive power of their fierce battle was extremely terrifying. However, the central world space was far more stable and sturdy than the outer continent space. The surging explosive power was unable to tear the space apart. It only formed ripples in the chaotic space. Bloodline ignition. Yi Chunfeng's battle prowess was beyond the black-clothed man's imagination. After a fierce battle, he discovered that not only was he unable to kill Yi Chunfeng, but he was also being restrained by Yi Chunfeng's fierce attacks. He instantly ignited his powerful bloodline power and transformed into a barbarian elephant, greatly increasing his strength. Die! True barbarian strike! The black-clothed man roared, and the strength of his entire body instantly broke through 100 million pounds. He was like a primordial beast that had awakened. He stomped on the ground and swept up layers of Dao intent as he launched a sure-kill attack at Yi Chunfeng. Blue Sky Seal. Yi Chunfeng stabbed the ancient halberd into the ground beside him. He quickly deduced the Dao intent. Thousands of Dao patterns quickly condensed and turned into a green square seal. As the seal was launched, the heaven and earth shook. The terrifying Blue Sky Seal had the power to destroy everything. It blocked the black-clothed man's true barbarian strike. Boom! The 2 powerful forces collided. The black-clothed man's true barbarian strike shattered like glass. It was completely unable to resist the attack of the Blue Sky Seal. Dao Treasure Black Bull Flag. At the critical moment, he took out a large flag with a black bull engraved on it. It fluttered in the wind and formed a large number of array patterns. It turned into a divine bull to resist the attack of the Blue Sky Seal. However, the clear sky uranium was an ultimate sacred skill. Its power was far beyond his imagination. The black bull array pattern could not resist the Sky Seal at all. Sky Splitting Hand. When the black-clothed man was dodging in a hurry, Yi Chunfeng used the Sky Splitting Hand that he had learned from the Marquis of Qianming and slapped it over. Boom! The giant hand that was filled with Tao intent and contained the power to split the sky fell from the sky. It crushed the black-clothed man's body with a suffocating power, forcing him to dodge again. When he was dodging the sky-splitting hand, he saw a flash of light in front of him. Yi Chunfeng appeared in front of him strangely. He swung the sky halberd and smashed it on his body. The terrifying attack directly broke through his body's defense and sent him flying. Witnessing the scene of the black-clothed man being sent flying by Yi Chunfeng's halberd, the faces of the three men standing in the distance changed drastically. If the black-clothed man was no match for Yi Chunfeng, then what awaited them would most likely be death. Demonic pattern, awaken! The black-clothed man quickly got up from the ground. He used his blood as a guide to awaken an ancient pattern in his body. On his bloody chest, the pattern gathered into a ferocious demonic face, greatly increasing his strength. Demonic pattern, you're from the demonic pattern valley. Looking at the demonic face formed on the black-clothed man's chest, Lu Mang guessed his identity. I didn't expect that with your cultivation level, you could force me to use my final trump card. Even if you die, you can be proud. The black-clothed man let out a ferocious roar. Billowing devil chi and will of the way merged together as he launched a ferocious attack at Yi Chunfeng. Thick and heavy sword rays shot out in layers, dense and unpredictable, completely enveloping Yi Chunfeng. Isn't it too early to talk about life and death? Heavenly demon dance. Wild and unparalleled energy gushed out of Yi Chunfeng's body. He raised the sky halberd up high and waved it in the void. Streaks of heavenly demon halberd shadows disrupted the void and shattered the black-clothed man's attack. When the two powerful Tao techniques collided, the demonic face that gathered on the black-clothed man's chest seemed to come alive and fused into the heavy sword in his hand. Moon concealment tyrannical art. The black-clothed man roared and raised his attack power to the limit. The heavy sword in his hand became dozens of feet long and smashed down like a crescent moon, causing the void to tremble violently. Sword-soul fusion. Although the black-clothed man's attack was terrifying, it was completely within Yi Chunfeng's range of tolerance. He quickly fused the sword-soul into the sky halberd and increased its power. With the power to crush all living things, he stabbed forward. Boom, boom, boom. The two treasures collided and continued to unleash a boundless destructive power, causing the entire void to tremble. Relying on the demonic patterns to resist the destructive power, the black-clothed man controlled the black bull flag to attack. He wanted to take advantage of the situation to severely injure Yi Chunfeng. Sound of great Tao. The god-devouring brain deduced. Several Tao intents fused together and shot out of Yi Chunfeng's throat in a special attack trajectory. It was like a tsunami, like a dragon's roar, and directly shattered the black bull flag's pattern. It bombarded the black-clothed man, whose expression changed drastically, and sent him flying with a roar. Large amounts of blood flowed out from his 7 orifices. You, who are you? Seeing Yi Chunfeng's shocking combat power, the black-clothed man was terrified. A dead man doesn't need to know my identity, Yi Chunfeng said without a trace of emotion. He flew over with the sky halberd in his hand. Just as he wanted to take advantage of the situation to kill the black-clothed man who was severely injured by the sound of great Tao, Yi Chunfeng's sharp senses suddenly sensed something unusual and quickly turned around. But the moment he turned around, a blurry ghost-like shadow flashed before his eyes. The instant this figure flashed by, Yi Chunfeng suddenly felt that the several universe rings hidden in his robes had disappeared without a trace. Remember the website. Sanwa Chinese Network. Chapter 1072. Where do you think you're going? Yi Chunfeng frowned when he sensed that several universe rings had disappeared. His heart was in turmoil. He flipped his palm and condensed the heaven-rending hand to grab the blurry shadow that was flying away. Seeing that the heaven-rending hand was about to grab him, The rapidly flying blurry shadow swayed in the void and transformed into several afterimages, dodging the heaven-rending hand's attack. Sound of the Great Tao. Yi Chunfeng quickly approached as the terrifying sound of the Great Tao gushed out of his mouth and bombarded the blurry shadow like a stormy sea. The rapidly flying shadow trembled slightly when it was attacked by Yi Chunfeng's sound of the Great Tao. However, it did not slow down and disappeared in front of Yi Chunfeng in the blink of an eye. What a fast speed! The central continent is indeed full of crouching tigers and hidden dragons. There are many capable people. Yi Chunfeng could not help but be shocked when he saw the blurry shadow that had stolen several of his universe rings disappear in front of him. Fortunately, the most precious items on Yi Chunfeng's body, as well as the black metal piece, were all stored in the universe mirror. There were only some soul crystals in the stolen universe rings. Therefore, Yi Chunfeng did not suffer much of a loss when he lost those universe rings. Let's go! While Yi Chunfeng was chasing after the blurry shadow, the severely injured black-robed man did not dare to stay any longer. He quickly summoned an impregnable white spirit boat that was more than 100 feet long and covered in ancient patterns. He steered the spirit boat in an attempt to escape. Where do you think you're going? Yi Chunfeng quickly turned back as the 5 elements Tao diagram flew out of his body and transformed into a 5 elements array. He grabbed the spirit boat from a distance, wanting to capture the spirit boat and capture the black-robed man and the others to interrogate them about the secret of the black metal piece. Ka. When the 5 elements hand grabbed the spirit boat, the entire spirit boat trembled violently. A terrifying impact was generated in the spirit boat, constantly cracking the 5 elements' hand. Moon concealment tyrannical technique. When Yi Chunfeng flew back, the black-robed man used the power of the demonic patterns to slash out a domineering crescent moon-like sword. It was like a moving sword mountain that bombarded the 5 elements' hand. Boom! The giant hand formed from the 5 elements Tao diagram trembled violently and was shattered by the moon concealment hegemony art. In the next moment, the violently trembling spirit ship burst forth with astonishing speed and flew rapidly in the chaotic void. It broke through Yi Chunfeng's obstruction and disappeared. Spirit boat. Yi Chunfeng frowned as he watched the spirit boat disappear into the void. He realized that he had to reacquaint himself with the central world and its expert. Regardless of whether it was the person who stole his 3 Qiankuan rings without anyone noticing, or the black-robed man with astonishing means, they were all people he had never met before. Especially the spirit boat, it was his first time seeing it. Lu Meng, do you know where I can buy that kind of spirit boat? Yi Chunfeng asked. The value of a spirit boat is comparable to that of the Gu Dao treasure. There are only a few of them in the entire central world, and the price of a spirit boat is even more ridiculous. If I'm not wrong, the spirit boat that person is controlling should belong to Emo Rune Valley Master, said Lu Meng. How strong is Emo Rune Valley Master? Yi Chunfeng was very interested in the extremely fast spirit boat. If he could have one, he would be able to greatly increase his speed and use the power of the spirit boat to pass through some dangerous places. Emo Rune Valley is very strong. Their valley master is known as the Black Demon Emperor. He is a Nirvana expert and is very famous in the entire central world. Lu Meng told Yi Chunfeng everything he knew about Emo Rune Valley. Nirvana. After knowing the strength of Emo Rune Valley Master, Yi Chunfeng immediately gave up on going to Emo Rune Valley to seize the spirit boat. With his current strength, although he could fight Nirvana's experts, he was definitely not a match for Nirvana's experts. Moreover, the central world was full of crouching tigers and hidden dragons. Those Nirvana realm old monsters who had lived for tens of thousands of years all possessed some astonishing means that could threaten Yi Chunfeng's life. Let's go. Let's leave this place. Yi Chunfeng didn't stay here for long. He wanted to find a quiet place to slowly study the black metal block that hid a great secret. Just as he and Lu Meng flew away from this extremely hot area filled with volcanoes, Yi Chenfeng's pupils shrank. He saw a gray figure outside a lush forest. That person was the one who had just stolen the 3 yin-yang rings that he had hidden in his clothes without anyone noticing. You have guts. You stole my things and still dare to wait for me here. Yi Chenfeng's face darkened as he spoke coldly. He wasn't very tall, his body was slightly thin, and his appearance was beautiful. His eyes were bright and full of intelligence, and his body was covered in a gray robe. However, when he controlled the God-Eater brain to check the realm of the gray-robed man, he revealed a trace of surprise. He found that the gray-robed man was like a cloud of fog that couldn't be unraveled. Even the God-Eater brain couldn't accurately determine his true realm. How about we make a deal? The gray-robed man calmly looked at Yi Chenfeng, who was walking over step by step. His soul power was completely locked onto him as he spoke in a calm voice. What kind of deal do you want to make with me? Yi Chenfeng secretly controlled the universe sword formation, preparing to trap him in the formation at any time and capture him alive. I'll help you unravel the secret of that black metal block. After that, we'll go and take the treasure together, the gray-robed man said indifferently. Not interested. Yi Chenfeng shook his head and flatly refused. I advise you not to be in a hurry to reject me. Without me, you won't be able to unravel the secret of that black metal block. Furthermore, the things that I want have never slipped away. The gray-robed man said confidently. Are you threatening me? Yi Chenfeng sneered. What a coincidence. The thing that I am least afraid of is threat. As he spoke, the soul power in Yi Chenfeng's mind exploded, forming a terrifying dizziness force. It bombarded his soul sea at an extremely fast speed, directly attacking his soul. When the gray-robed man was hit by the dizziness, the 36 universe swords flew out of Yi Chenfeng's body and quickly formed the universe sword formation, wanting to trap him in the sword formation. Yi Chenfeng's attack could be said to be very sudden, but the gray-robed man's reaction speed was even faster. Furthermore, the dizziness force formed by Yi Chenfeng's soul didn't affect him at all. Before the universe sword formation could trap him, his body slightly swayed and strangely disappeared in front of Yi Chenfeng's eyes. His ghost-like speed made Yi Chenfeng gasp in amazement and astonishment. I sincerely want to cooperate with you. Why do you have to be so overbearing? The gray-robed man appeared in midair and said with a calm expression. I can tell you clearly that unless you cooperate with me, you will definitely not be able to obtain the secret hidden in that metal block. Are you that confident? Yi Chenfeng sneered. If it wasn't for the fact that he didn't want to reveal too much of his trump card in front of Lu Mang, Yi Chenfeng would have summoned the Chaos Divine Beast, the Marquis of Qianming. I can reveal some information to you first. The secret hidden in that black metal block is related to the Zhou clan that suddenly disappeared tens of thousands of years ago. The gray-robed man said slowly. In other words, the black metal block is the key to finding the Zhou clan's ruins. However, the Zhou clan's ruins is extremely dangerous. Only I can bring you along, and you can obtain the treasure in the Zhou clan's ruins. The Zhou clan again. Yi Chenfeng frowned slightly as he thought to himself. I am more confident in my own abilities, so there's no need for cooperation. Lu Mang, let's go. After saying that, Yi Chenfeng didn't hesitate and left with Lu Mang. Remember the website. Sanwu Chinese Network. Chapter 1073. What kind of secret is this black metal block hiding? After returning to his residence in the Nightless City, Yi Chenfeng immediately summoned 108 supreme-grade array flags and sealed the entire room. He took out the black metal block from the universe mirror and controlled the power of the God-Eater brain to radiate into the metal block. Text when Yi Chenfeng increased the amplitude of the God-Eater brain to the maximum and penetrated into the metal block, he sensed the power of a restriction in the deepest part of the extremely dense metal block. What a terrifying restriction! The restriction in this metal block must have come from a Nirvana heavenly realm expert. Sensing the terrifying restriction in the metal block, Yi Chunfeng was slightly shocked. He used all his strength to control the God-Eater brain to crack it. Under the continuous cracking of the God-Eater brain, the restriction in the deepest part of the metal block disintegrated bit by bit. Yi Chunfeng found a ball of light the size of a finger in the metal block. Apart from this ball of light, he couldn't sense anything else. What does this ball of light have to do with the Zhou clan ruins? Yi Chunfeng frowned and muttered to himself. He originally thought that the black metal block hid a map to find the Zhou clan ruins. He didn't expect that there was no map in the deepest part of the metal block, only this ball of light. Buzz, buzz. While Yi Chunfeng was controlling the God-Eater brain to search for the secret of this ball of light, the space of the 108 supreme-grade array flags suddenly fluctuated. The man, who was not very tall and was covered in a gray robe, directly passed through the restriction of the array flag and appeared in a strange manner. You! When Yi Chunfeng saw Xiao Chen easily break through the restriction formed by the 108 formation flags that he controlled, great waves surged in his heart. A heavy murderous intent appeared in his eyes as he said, "Do you really think that I cannot kill you? I'm not bragging, but you really can't kill me." The man in gray crossed his arms and looked at Yi Chunfeng, who had a cold expression and was filled with killing intent. He spoke without fear. "Is that so?" In the face of the man in gray's repeated provocations, Yi Chunfeng had a murderous intent. A powerful aura emanated from his body. He was like an unsheathed divine sword, full of murderous intent. "All right, don't be angry." Sensing the sharp killing intent emanating from Yi Chunfeng's body locking onto him, the gray-clothed man was not afraid. He said calmly, "I came to find you because I sincerely want to cooperate with you. If my guess is correct, the map of the Zhou family ruins is not in that black metal piece, right?" "What do you know?" Yi Chunfeng's brows were tightly knitted together. He was shocked by his ability to predict the future. "I know the general location of the Zhou family ruins, and if my guess is correct, the item hidden inside the black metal piece is the key to entering the Zhou family ruins." The gray-robed man said patiently, "What do you think? Let's work together and steal the Rong family's treasure, then we'll share it equally." "But what if I don't believe you?" Yi Chunfeng looked at him with a sharp gaze as he made a decision in his heart. You don't believe me?" The gray-clothed man said angrily. "Look at my eyes, what did you find?" "No." Yi Chunfeng shook his head. "Sincerity, can't you see sincerity in my eyes?" The gray-clothed man widened his eyes and said loudly, "I sincerely want to cooperate with you, I won't lie to you." "All right, I can cooperate with you, but when we enter the Zhou family ruins, we'll fight for the treasure with our own abilities." Although the gray-clothed man was unpredictable, Yi Chunfeng was confident in his own abilities. Moreover, he had the Chaos Divine Beast and the Marquis of Qianming, two powerful experts. They were enough to control the situation. "No problem." The gray-clothed man patted his chest and said, "I'll definitely make your trip worthwhile." Hearing the gray-clothed man's promise, Yi Chunfeng did not believe a single word. However, he was very interested in the Zhou family's treasure, so he had to cooperate with him. "Right, I'm called Planner. What's your name?" Planner asked enthusiastically. "Feng Chen." Yi Chunfeng said calmly. "Feng Chen, a good name, but I know it's fake." Planner said slyly. Let's go. After saying goodbye to Brother Lu Mang, we'll go find the Zhou family ruins." Yi Chunfeng looked at Planner, who was like a mystery, and put the black metal piece and the light bead into the universe mirror. He left the room with him, and found Lu Mang, who was lying on a chair and enjoying a massage from his 4 wives. Yo, you're rich but shallow." Planner's eyes lit up as he looked at Lu Mang and the other 4 wives who were wearing gauze dresses. Their beautiful bodies were faintly discernible, and they gave people the feeling that they were half hugging a pipa and half covering their faces. "It's you actually chased after us." Lu Mang did not expect Planner to come. She stood up from the chair and said with hostility, What do you mean chased after us? Planner rolled his eyes at Lu Meng and said, Feng Chen and I hit it off at first sight, so I came to find him to catch up. You, on the other hand, are so ugly. How did you get 4 beautiful wives? Ugly, are you blind? Lu Meng glared and said in a flustered and exasperated manner, Big brother, I have good looks, I think you're just jealous of my handsomeness. Forgive my bad eyes, I can't tell. Planner rubbed his nose and said, You'll definitely be kissed by a pig. You. Lu Meng was so angry that her entire body was trembling. Her eyes were shooting out dense flames. If looks could kill, Planner would have already been torn into pieces by Lu Meng's gaze. They say that beauties are like wine. Seeing these 4 beauties, I finally understand the meaning of these words. Planner ignored Lu Meng's angry gaze and walked in front of his 4 beautiful wives. He said softly, Beauties are like wine, they both need to be slowly tasted, especially these 4 beauties that are so beautiful that they can topple cities. As he spoke, Heaven Plucker approached the 4 of them. When he was very close to their bodies, he took a deep breath as if he wanted to inhale the scent from their bodies into his body. This caused the 4 women's faces to become rosy and delicate. Young master, please have some self-respect. Lu Meng's 4 beautiful wives took 2 steps back and said shyly, You don't need to worry, I have self-respect and self-respect. Planner shook his head and said with endless aftertaste, Once on the street, an old woman saw me and suddenly cried like a madman. She shouted that she was born 80 years early, and that you guys are very lucky to have met me so early. You're going too far, you're going too far. Seeing Planner teasing his wives in front of him made Lu Meng feel extremely humiliated. His lungs were about to explode from anger. He summoned his golden-scaled puppet and wanted to teach Planner a lesson. Okay, Planner, stop messing around. Looking at Planner, who was even more thick-skinned than Lu Meng, Yi Chunfeng was truly speechless. He coldly warned, If you keep messing around, we'll work together. Okay. Planner curled his lips and said, Truly 4 fresh flowers stuck on cow dung. I'll kill you. Lu Meng was so angry that he lost his mind and threw a punch at Planner. However, Planner was too fast. He flirtatiously lifted the white and tender chin of Lu Meng's most beautiful wife. His body flashed slightly and dodged Lu Meng's attack. He returned to Yi Chunfeng's side. As for his astonishing speed, even Yi Chunfeng gasped in amazement and was astonished. Brother Lu Meng, don't be angry. He's just joking with you. Yi Chunfeng looked at Lu Meng, who was so angry that he was about to vomit blood, and said softly, I'm leaving now. We'll meet again someday. Take care. Looking at the watery eyes of Lu Meng's wives and their amorous expressions, Yi Chunfeng didn't dare to let Planner stay any longer. He was afraid that if he let Planner stay any longer, Lu Meng's group of 4 would run away with Planner. He left behind a sentence and pulled him away. Remember the URL. Sanwu Chinese Network. Chapter 1074. The sunset was beautiful, but it was close to dusk. Yi Chunfeng and Planner stepped on the sunset and left Nightless City. 2 beautiful figures passed through the sunset and appeared outside the city gate. Young Master Yi, are you ready to leave? Hua Luoyu, who was wearing a tight black dress and had an elegant temperament, slowly walked over, accompanied by her maid, Chuer. Her eyes were watery and rippling. Yes, I'm ready to leave. Yi Chunfeng nodded and looked at Hua Luoyu's exquisite face. But I believe that we will meet again. Beauty is like wine. Smelling it is mellow and drinking it is crazy. Beauty, can we get to know each other? Looking at the fairy-like Hua Luoyu, Planner's eyes flickered. He tidied his clothes, walked forward quickly, and said gently, Young Master Yi, he is. Hua Luoyu smiled sweetly and looked at Planner's delicate face. Seems like a friend but not a friend. Ignore him, Yi Chunfeng said. You! Planner's eyes widened and revealed a trace of anger. Hearing Yi Chunfeng's introduction of Planner, Hua Luoyu smiled and no longer looked at him. She took out a jade slip from her universe ring and said gently, This is my favorite ancient song. I'll give it to young Master Yi. I hope it will be of help to you. Friends are easy to find, but soulmates are hard to find. Yi Chunfeng smiled and said, courtesy demands reciprocity. I'll also give you 2 things. I hope you'll accept them. Although Hua Luoyu's talent was extraordinary, she was not good at killing. Yi Chunfeng gave her the 8 Sha Azura technique cultivation chant and a ball of life spirit. Thank you, Hua Luoyu smiled charmingly and said, there's no banquet that doesn't end. Young Master Yi, we'll meet again. The next time we meet, we'll have a long talk and compose the sound of the great Tao together. With that, an immortal crane with a wingspan of more than 10 meters descended from the sky. It flew down and carried Hua Luoyu and Chui away. Stop looking, they've already flown away. Heaven Pilfer looked at Yi Chunfeng, who was gazing into the distance, and curled his lips. Let's go, bring me to the Zhou clan's ruins. Yi Chunfeng shook his head and said with a neutral expression. Feng Qin, do you like her? Heaven Planner asked in a gossipy manner. I do have a good impression of her, but this kind of good impression is not like, but appreciation, that's all. Yi Chunfeng said frankly. Indeed, he liked the feeling of being together with Hua Luoyu. However, this feeling was pure and unadulterated. In Hua Luoyu, Yi Chunfeng had found a tacit understanding between old friends. In this kind of tacit understanding, they didn't ask about each other's identity and background. It was enough to show that they really regarded each other as close friends. However, they were only close friends. With my many years of experience and hundreds of battles, this kind of thing can't be hidden from me. You definitely like her. Heaven Planner said without a doubt. Let's go, don't waste any more time. Yi Chunfeng shook his head and didn't dwell too much on this matter as he urged in a light voice. Let's go. Heaven Plucker took out a dark gold universe ring. An extremely exquisite bronze spirit ship that was several hundred feet long and engraved with a large number of ancient runes flashed into appearance. Spirit boat, you actually have a spirit boat. Seeing the bronze spirit boat summoned by Heaven Planner, Yi Chunfeng's eyes widened and revealed a shocked expression. I stole it. Heaven Planner said indifferently, let's go to the Nine-Een land. The central Great World was vast and boundless, and its surface area was far larger than the total surface area of the outer continent. Heaven Planner steered the dirty bronze spirit boat and flew above the boundless spirit chi clouds for 4 days and 4 nights. They crossed many spirit swamp-blessed lands, vast oceans, long rivers, and dangerous lands before they arrived at an uninhabited area with drifting fog, swamps, and demonic beasts. Roar! Roar! As soon as the spirit boat entered this dangerous area, it immediately alerted 2 extremely ferocious demonic snakes hidden in the swamps and attacked. Bursts of demonic power constantly bombarded the spirit boat, wanting to destroy it and devour Yi Chunfeng and Heaven Planner, who were in the spirit boat. Prehistoric savage beast, deep swamp python. Seeing the 2 demonic snakes opening their bloody mouths and attacking the spirit boat crazily, Heaven Planner recognized their origins. Savage beasts were demonic beasts unique to the Central World. They had existed for a long time and had the bloodline of ancient demonic beasts flowing in their bodies. They were extremely powerful, but savage beasts had extremely low intelligence and were very difficult to tame. However, because of the bloodline of ancient demonic beasts and the scarcity of savage beast demonic cores were extremely precious. Especially on the black market, the price was several times higher than a heavenly beast demonic core of the same level. Facing the ferocious attack of 2 deep swamp black pythons, the spirit ship that was speeding through the void did not slow down at all. The terrifying collision shattered the 2 deep swamp black pythons, who had the blood of ancient demon beasts flowing in their veins. 2 bloody demon cores, which were worth more than a great Tao core, fell to the ground. Demonic cores. Looking at the 2 precious demonic cores, Yi Chunfeng's eyes lit up. He formed a Tao intent giant hand and wanted to grab the 2 demonic cores. Suddenly, ripples appeared in the space around the two demonic cores. In the next moment, the two demonic cores suddenly disappeared. How did you do it? Seeing the two demonic cores that strangely appeared in Heaven Planner's hand a few hundred feet away, Yi Chunfeng's eyes narrowed and revealed a trace of horror. Tell me where you hid the black metal, and I'll tell you how I did it. Looking at Yi Chunfeng's shocked expression, the corners of Planner's mouth curled up slightly as he played with the two savage beasts' demon cores. The black iron piece is on me, Yi Chunfeng said indifferently. Impossible. I have already searched your body. There is no black iron piece at all. Heaven Planner said very calmly. Just because you can't find it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Yi Chunfeng said slowly, Okay, I have already said it. It's time for you to tell me how you took it from a distance. Just like this. It's very simple. Heaven Planner revealed a playful smile and gestured twice. Seeing the crafty look of Heaven Planner's eyes, Yi Chunfeng shook his head and didn't continue to ask. He continued to sit cross-legged on the spirit boat and comprehended the ancient underworld song that Hua Luyu had given him. If he could use the sound of the Grand Tao to evolve it into the ancient underworld song, it would be enough to be his other trump card. It could destroy souls and kill people without leaving a trace. The spirit boat flew for more than 2 hours in the danger zone and arrived at a desolate mountain range that was filled with strong Yin energy and overgrown with weeds. We are here. The Zhou clan ruins should be hidden in the desolate mountain range. However, the space in this mountain range is very fragile, and it is very dangerous to enter. If we want to find the Zhou clan ruins, we must rely on the item in the black iron piece. Heaven Planner stood on the spirit boat and looked at the desolate mountain range that was shrouded in dense Yin energy. Why is the space in this mountain range so fragile? Yi Chunfeng withdrew his soul power and asked with a serious expression. This is related to the annihilation of the Zhou clan. Heaven Planner seemed to know many secrets of the Zhou clan and said indifferently. You know the reason why the Zhou clan was annihilated? Yi Chunfeng raised his eyebrows and asked in surprise. Of course. Give me the item in the black iron piece and I will tell you. Heaven Planner's lips curled up slightly as he demanded. All right. Yi Chunfeng agreed without hesitation. After seeing Heaven Planner's unfathomable stealing ability, Yi Chunfeng wasn't confident that he could protect this spiritual pearl. Furthermore, he didn't know how to use this spiritual pearl. Guidance Stone. Heaven Planner's eyes lit up when he saw the spiritual pearl that Yi Chunfeng handed to him. Now you can tell me the reason why the Zhou clan was annihilated, right? Yi Chunfeng asked indifferently. The Zhou clan was annihilated by the Heaven Domain Gate. Heaven Planner pointed to the sky and said in shock. Remember the website. Sanwu Chinese Network. Chapter 1075. You didn't lie to me. Why did the Heaven Domain Gate wipe out the Zhou clan? Did they do something outrageous? Watermark advertisement test. Watermark advertisement test. After knowing the truth of the Zhou clan's annihilation, Yi Chunfeng felt it was inconceivable and asked suspiciously. He heard that the Nirvana Realm old ancestor of the Zhou clan tried to tear open the Heaven Domain Gate and ascend to the Heaven Domain. But for some reason, the Heaven Domain Gate suddenly killed him and wiped out the Zhou clan. Heaven Plucker revealed another shocking mystery. This Zhou clan is the inheritance of the human race, right? Yi Chunfeng raised his brows slightly and asked after pondering for a moment. The Zhou clan is the inheritance of the human race. Heaven Plucker nodded and said. It seems like this Zhou clan old ancestor's experience was similar to the Star Emperor's. When he tore open the Heaven Domain Gate, he might have been attacked by the foreign races. It is also possible that the foreign races sealed the Heaven Domain Gate of the Fighting Soul continent, preventing the human experts from ascending to the Heaven Domain. Through the Star Emperor's experience, Yi Chunfeng faintly guessed the truth of the Zhou clan's annihilation. While he felt disdain for the foreign races, he also felt heavy pressure. It seems like the human race's situation in the Heaven Domain isn't good either. If I want to successfully tear open the heaven domain gate and ascend to the heaven domain, I must refine the heavenly saint breaking pellet and break the law shackles of the fighting soul continent to have a chance of survival. Otherwise, I might end up as miserable as them. Yi Chunfeng muttered in his heart. Just as Yi Chunfeng was deep in thought, Heaven Plucker used some unknown method to undo the restriction of the light bead in the black iron block. White halos spread out from the light bead and illuminated the space. Guide bead, go! Heaven Plucker used his blood as a guide and injected it into the white light bead. He completely activated the white light bead's power and controlled it to fly into the desolate and abnormally chaotic mountain range. Let's go! Heaven Plucker instructed and flew into the air with Yi Chunfeng. They followed closely behind the white light bead that was moving at an extremely fast speed through the chaotic space and entered the desolate mountain range. Although they had the guidance of the white ball of light, Yi Chunfeng and Planner still encountered quite a bit of trouble in the desolate mountain range. Strange spatial cracks appeared without any warning, swallowing and spitting out the aura of death. They wanted to kill and devour the two who trespassed here. Fortunately, their souls were incomparably powerful. Their strength was also extraordinary. Every time they encountered danger, they would be able to sense it in advance and evade it. They avoided the spatial cracks that kept opening up to enter the deepest part of the mountain range. That's right, this is the place. This is the Zhou family ruins. When the white ball of light brought Yi Chunfeng and Duan Ling Tian to the deepest part of the desolate mountain range, it suddenly stopped. Based on the lingering power in the air that made one's heart palpitate, as well as the traces of destruction left on the ground, Duan Ling Tian was basically certain that this was the ruins of the Zhou clan. Are you sure this is the Zhou clan's ruins? Yi Chunfeng asked with a frown when he saw that there were no traces of human habitation in the ruins. With absolute certainty, Plunder of the Heavens said without a doubt, the Zhou clan's historical remains are underground. The underground Zhou clan actually built their clan underground. Yi Chunfeng found it inconceivable. What kind of methods were needed to accomplish such a feat? What was there to be surprised about? Plunder of the Heavens twitched his mouth and said, the methods of the Nirvana heavenly realm are not something you can imagine. But the earliest Zhou clan was not underground. The elders of the Zhou clan must have sensed something, so they moved the Zhou clan underground in an attempt to deceive the world. But who would have thought that in the end, the Zhou clan was still destroyed by the Heaven Realm Gate? Plunder of the Heavens, what kind of treasures are in the Zhou clan's ruins? Yi Chunfeng found that Plunder of the Heavens had a special understanding of the Zhou clan, so he asked curiously. All right, since you are quite cooperative, I will reveal to you in advance. Plunder of the Heavens said generously, the Zhou clan has 3 treasures. They are the 9 dragon diagram, the ancient beast talisman, and the dominating kick. Other than these 3 treasures, the other treasures are not worth mentioning. Yi Chunfeng continued to ask about the 9 dragon diagram, the ancient beast talisman, and the dominating kick. When you get those 3 treasures, you will naturally know their levels. If you can't get them, then what's the use of knowing them? Plunder of the Heavens revealed a trace of craftiness and said, come, don't just stand there. Let's dig. I will definitely dig out the Zhou clan's ancestral grave. With that, Plunder of the Heavens put away the guiding spirit pearl and took out 2 sharp long swords. His entire body spun like a top and sank into the ground. He quickly dug a hole and explored underground. Seal, there were many broken seals hidden underground. Yi Chunfeng followed Plunder of the Heavens and quickly broke through the ground. When they dived underground, his powerful soul felt the power of layers of powerful seals underground. However, these seals had been heavily damaged before and were forcibly torn apart. They could not pose a threat to them at all. The two used all their skills to quickly dig. After diving for more than 6 hours, they suddenly heard the sound of rushing water. An underground river like a silver dragon appeared underground and flowed into the depths of the darkness. Looking at the underground river in front of them, Plunder of the Heavens took out the guiding spirit pearl and silently sensed it for a while. He said, "This underground river may be the moat of the Zhou clan's underground city. If we follow this river, we should be able to find the Zhou clan's ruins." With that, Plunder of the Heavens jumped into the surging and powerful underground river. He let the roaring underground river sweep him and bring him far away. Who knows how long the two stayed in the surging underground river? Suddenly, streaks of light flashed in the dark space. Catching the flash of light, Plunder of the Heavens and Yi Chunfeng did not hesitate to jump out of the underground river and into an empty underground space. "Ha ha, found it, I finally found it." Plunder of the Heavens took out several moonstones and suspended them above his head. He saw the entire space clearly and found that on the empty stone walls there were a large number of ancient totem paintings. And according to the information conveyed by these ancient paintings, this was the ruins of the reclusive Zhou clan that was once prosperous tens of thousands of years ago. Even the divine nation was apprehensive. "Let's go and find the Zhou clan's great treasures." Plunder of the Heavens could not hold back his excitement. His eyes shone with a thieving light. He said, "They will have a new master soon." "Plunder of the Heavens, are you sure that the Zhou clan's 3 great treasures are here and were not destroyed by the Heaven Realm Gate?" Yi Chunfeng asked. "According to my investigation, the Zhou clan's forefather borrowed the power of the great treasures and was not directly killed by the Heaven Realm Gate. He kept the 3 great treasures, and from the many traces, the Zhou clan hid the 3 great treasures here." Heaven Plucker controlled the white bead to fly in the void while holding a green jade staff. He knocked on the ground in a dignified manner as he slowly spoke. "I hope the Zhou clan's 3 great treasures will not disappoint me." Yi Chunfeng did not say anything more. He followed Plunder of the Heavens and slowly walked towards the depths of the heavily damaged Zhou clan's ruins. Although the Zhou clan's ruins had been attacked by the Heavenly Domain's Great Gate and was severely damaged, it still retained many of its stunning buildings. This was especially so for the vivid and lifelike wall paintings that contained the Great Tao's intent. Yi Chunfeng could not help but stop and look at them. The two followed the light pearl that emitted white light and slowly floated in the air. They moved for more than 2 hours in the Zhou clan's ruins. When they passed through a long and narrow corridor, they found a dozens of meters high copper door that was full of cracks and inlaid with 2 ox heads. When they pushed open the ox-headed copper door together, a bone-chilling yin qi pervaded out from the copper door. This yin qi was so strong that it made all the hair on Yi Chunfeng's body stand up. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the bookmark at the bottom to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1076. What a cold and gloomy energy! Yi Chunfeng circulated the soul-devouring art and expelled the yin qi that invaded his body. He stared at the yin qi space in the bull-headed bronze door and muttered, "Do you know how many people from the Zhou clan died back then?" Heaven Planner looked at Yi Chunfeng, who had a serious expression, and said with a surprised expression, "The Zhou clan was prosperous back then. There were at least 30,000 clansmen living here. There was no lack of emperor-level experts in the Zhou clan. So many experts were killed by the Heaven Realm Gate. How could the accumulated yin qi and resentment be small? Let's go in." Heaven Planner rubbed his hands and said impatiently. With that, he grabbed the white light bead that was floating in the air and walked through the bull-headed bronze door. Buzz, buzz, buzz. When he walked through the bronze door that was filled with yin qi and resentment, a powerful restriction force suddenly formed. It was like a tidal wave that swept through the space and attacked Heaven Planner. Although the Heaven Plucker's movement speed was extremely fast, due to the restriction of space, he couldn't dodge this sudden restriction power at all. The restriction power fiercely struck his body, blasting him out of the black space and smashing him towards Yi Chunfeng behind him. Heaven Planner lost control of his body and crashed over. Yi Chunfeng instinctively reached out and grabbed him in his arms. Suddenly, Yi Chunfeng grabbed something and squeezed it. Heaven Planner, you are very strong. Your chest muscles are so big. Heaven Planner wiped the blood from his mouth and forcefully broke free from Yi Chunfeng. He rolled his eyes and said coldly, "So what if I am strong? Are you jealous? I can kill a bull with one punch. Did you know that?" With that, Heaven Planner didn't care about Yi Chunfeng anymore. He took out a shroud that he prepared earlier and put it on. He then took out a small bottle of blood and cut his wrist to guide the blood into his body. Then, he took out an incense burner and inserted 3 incense sticks into it. He placed them in front of the bronze door and took out a thick piece of yellow paper to burn. While burning, the Heaven Plucker spoke with conviction, "Ancestors of the Zhou clan, the unfilial descendant of the Zhou clan, has finally found the ruins. We are here to pay our respects to our ancestors. Ancestors, please open the restriction and let the unfilial descendant, Zhou Shiping, enter to pay his respects." "You really are a descendant of my Zhou clan." An old voice that seemed to come from ancient times suddenly rang out in the pitch-black space. The terrifying voice caused the entire space to buzz. "Old ancestor, if you don't believe me, you can test this junior's bloodline. Then, you will know if I am lying or not." Planner suddenly knelt on the ground and said with a sincere expression, "All right." Streaks of strange soul light flowed within the black space. They were like thin threads that were injected into Plunder Heaven's body. During this process, Plunder Heaven didn't resist at all. It knelt on the ground devoutly and allowed the soul threads to enter its body. "That's right. My Zhou clan's bloodline indeed flows in your body. However, this bloodline is a bit thin." When the soul threads disappeared, the old voice rang out again. "However, this is pardonable. The Zhou clan has already perished. Come in." "Thank you, ancestor." The Heaven Plucker kowtowed 3 times towards the black space and said, "Ancestor, it is all thanks to him that I was able to find this place. I wonder if I can bring him in to pay his respects to our ancestors?" "Come in," the old voice said. "Don't just stand there. Quickly follow me. Remember, don't speak carelessly later. Otherwise, if you anger those deceased souls of the Zhou clan, our lives will be in danger." The Heaven Plucker turned his head and winked at Yi Chunfeng as he transmitted a message to warn him. This Heaven Plucker really has too many tricks. Yi Chunfeng didn't expect that the Heaven Plucker actually had a way to deceive the deceased souls of the Zhou clan. The Zhou clan's bloodline flowing in his body should be related to the blood that he had just guided into his body. When Yi Chunfeng followed the Heaven Plucker into the pitch-black space, a dark light suddenly appeared in the space, allowing Yi Chunfeng to see the true appearance of this space. Underground ancient courtyard. The Zhou clan really built an ancient courtyard underground. Looking at the ancient courtyard in front of him that was emitting an ancient aura, Yi Chunfeng revealed a look of shock. In order to build such an ancient courtyard tens of thousands of meters underground, not only did one need the clan's foundation, but more importantly, one had the strength to move mountains and overturn seas. Otherwise, just excavating such a large space in such a deep underground was something that ordinary people couldn't do. However, the ancient courtyard in front of them was severely damaged. There was a bottomless pit in the courtyard, and there wasn't even a single blade of grass in the courtyard. "Junior, how did you find this place?" An old soul floated over quickly. His deep eyes shot out rays of light as he looked at Yi Chunfeng and the Heaven Plucker, wanting to see through them. What a terrifying soul! The moment this soul appeared, even with Yi Chunfeng's strength, he felt a trace of dangerous aura. Moreover, with the God-Eater brain, he could also sense the aura of a large number of living beings in the old soul. Clearly, the reason why this old soul was so terrifying should be because it had fused with the souls of a large number of Zhou clan's ancestors. Replying to the ancestor, "This junior is from the Zhou clan, and my great-grandfather has always had a long-cherished wish, which was to release the deceased souls of the Zhou clan's ancestors so that they could rest in peace. In order to fulfill this long-cherished wish, everyone in our clan cultivated Buddhist Dharma, and searching for the ruins of our Zhou clan is also the ancestral teachings of our clan for generations. The Heaven Plucker used his silver tongue to wantonly fabricate. As he kept lying, rays of Buddhist light shone out of his body, forming a Buddhist wheel behind him. It had a profound feeling of Buddhist Dharma. "May I know who your great-grandfather is?" Because of his bloodline, the old soul didn't doubt the Heaven Plucker and softly asked. The Heaven Plucker respectfully answered, "My great-grandfather is called Zhou Hongyuan. So someone from my Zhou clan actually survived back then. My Zhou clan's roots are not severed." At this time, an even more powerful soul appeared. Although the two old souls had never heard of the name Zhou Hongyuan, the Zhou family was a big family with many clansmen. The Hong generation was indeed the generation of their generation, so they believed Heaven Planner's words without a doubt. "Come, I will take you to greet the ancestors of the Zhou clan." A hint of gentleness appeared in the old soul's cold eyes as he slowly spoke. He led the Heaven Plucker towards the heavily damaged Zhou clan's ancestral mansion. "Wait, you are not a descendant of my Zhou clan, so you are not allowed to enter our ancestral mansion." When Yi Chunfeng followed the Heaven Plucker to the Zhou clan's ancestral mansion, the new soul glanced at him and coldly spoke. The Heaven Plucker sincerely said, "Great ancestor, he is not an outsider. The reason why I was able to find this place was all thanks to his help. Let him come with us to pay respects to the ancestors." Hearing the Heaven Plucker actually speaking up for him, Yi Chunfeng slightly frowned as he smelled something unusual. Although he hadn't known the Heaven Plucker for long, he knew that the latter was as cunning as a fox. Every word and action of his could be used to scheme against others. However, Yi Chunfeng was very interested in the three great treasures of the Zhou clan. Even if this place was a dragon's lair or a tiger's den, he still wanted to take a look. "Very well, since you feel that there is no problem with him, then both of you come with me." With that, the two old souls brought Yi Chunfeng and the Heaven Plucker into the Zhou clan's ancestral mansion that had been deserted for a long time. However, when the two of them passed through the heavily damaged gate of the Zhou clan's ancestral mansion, a great scene suddenly appeared in front of them. Yi Chunfeng discovered that he had actually entered a magical space. In the sky of this space, there were 9 lifelike flood dragons that were over 100 meters long and had a sharp horn on their foreheads, releasing a terrifying dragon's might. Mobile reading website, book address. In order to facilitate your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1077. Could this be the space within the 9 flood dragon diagram? This diagram is a spatial treasure. Yi Chunfeng's brows slightly raised as he looked at the 9 lifelike flood dragons soaring in the sky. He guessed the origin of this independent space, and became very interested in the 9 flood dragon diagram. However, after seeing Plunder's various heaven-defying methods, he knew that it would not be easy to take the 9 flood dragon diagram from Plunder. Moreover, the lingering souls of the Zhou clan were extraordinary. This undoubtedly increased the difficulty for Yi Chunfeng to seize the treasure. Plunder pretended to be surprised as he looked around and asked, "Ancestor, this is the space of the 9 flood dragon diagram of our Zhou clan, right?" "That's right, we are in the space of the 9 flood dragon diagram, the defining treasure of our Zhou clan that has been passed down for 1 million years." The old soul nodded and said, "If it wasn't for the diagram protecting the clan master's soul back then, his soul would have dissipated a long time ago." "Could it be that the progenitor is still here?" Plunder asked with surprise. This 9 flood dragon diagram space is a bit special and can prevent souls from dissipating. However, The clan master was too heavily injured back then, and only a strand of his soul remained. Moreover, he has always been in a deep slumber. The old soul said without hiding anything. Primogenitor collected the souls of our ancestors into the 9-flood dragon portrait. Did you want to borrow the 9-flood dragon portrait to revive our ancestors? Heaven Plundering asked. I didn't expect you to have such knowledge. The old soul nodded and said, That's right, the clan master wanted to strengthen our souls back then so that he could find a chance to revive us. However, changing fate is far too difficult. Our souls were also heavily injured. After being nurtured for tens of thousands of years, we still couldn't change our fate. Changing fate? This Zhou ancestor is so bold. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath. Could it be that he has an item that can change fate? As he spoke, a large number of Zhou clan's departed souls appeared and surrounded Yi Chunfeng and Di Tian. Di Tian seemed to be a descendant of the Zhou clan. He bowed to these departed souls one by one and won the favor of the Zhou clan's departed souls. Ancestors, may this junior pay his respects to the first ancestor? Planner bowed deeply and asked respectfully. You are a descendant of the Zhou clan, so you are qualified to greet the clan leader. However, he is not a member of the Zhou clan, so you can only wait here. The most powerful old soul, whose strength was comparable to that of a nirvana expert, glanced at Yi Chunfeng with cloudy eyes and said in a deep voice, All right. Yi Chunfeng didn't insist and happily agreed. He ignored the terrifying souls around him and sat cross-legged on the ground. He controlled the God-Eater brain to deduce the 9-flood dragon diagram. Let's go. Plundering the Heavens glanced at Yi Chunfeng, who was sitting cross-legged with a cunning look in his eyes. He followed the strongest old soul to the deepest part of the 9-serpent pagoda and saw an ancient coffin made of divine wood. It was covered in mysterious runes and was extremely heavy. Clan leader, a descendant of the Zhou clan, has found this place and is here to pay his respects. I wonder if clan leader is willing to show himself? The powerful Zhou clan soul respectfully stood next to the ancient coffin made of divine wood and bowed deeply 3 times towards the ancient coffin as he respectfully asked. Crack, crack, crack. As soon as the old man finished speaking, a powerful awakening force surged out from the ancient coffin that was filled with deathly stillness. It pushed the heavy coffin lid to slowly open as an old soul slowly floated out. Even though the Zhou clan's ancestor was killed by the celestial gate and only this wisp of remnant soul was left, the aura of this wisp of remnant soul was still terrifying. He floated quietly in the void like a world of his own, vast and boundless, making people want to worship him. You are truly a descendant of the Zhou clan. The Zhou clan progenitor, who wore an ancient robe and had a skinny body, gave off a mountain-like feeling. 2 rays of bloody light shot out from his deep eyes and shot into Planner's body, wanting to see through him. My great-grandfather's name is Zhou Hongyuan. Even though he is not from the main branch of the Zhou clan, the blood of the Zhou clan flows in his body. Planner sincerely kneeled on the ground and kowtowed 3 times towards the Zhou progenitor. You indeed have the blood of the Zhou clan flowing in your body, but it is too thin and cannot awaken the true power of our bloodline. The Zhou progenitor withdrew his gaze and spoke with a muffled voice. Even though this junior did not inherit the invincible bloodline of the Zhou clan, this junior has a heart that pursues the supreme grand Tao. No matter how great the obstacles and dangers are, as long as there is a sliver of opportunity, this junior will fight and seize it. If this junior can prove his Tao, then the Zhou clan's past glory will be restored. Planner easily grasped the Zhou progenitor's heart and spoke with great heroism. It is rare for you to have such a heart. The Zhou progenitor gently nodded and said, Speak, outside of paying respects to us, is there anything else? This junior wants to ask the 3 great treasures of the Zhou clan to borrow the power of the 3 tombstones to resolve the crisis of the Zhou clan, kill the enemy, and restore the Zhou clan's past glory. Planner used his silver tongue to fabricate another story to deceive the Zhou progenitor and the others. The Zhou clan encountered a great disaster? The Zhou progenitor frowned slightly. His deep eyes shot out a bloody light that seemed to be able to pierce through the void. Yes, because of a treasure, our Zhou clan became enemies with the demonic Rune Valley. But who would have thought that the demonic Rune Valley was not only powerful, but also had a good relationship with the 8 Divine Nation. They used the 8 Divine Nation's power to bully us. Originally, we wanted to swallow our anger and give the treasure to the demonic Rune Valley, but who would have thought that their real goal was not the treasure we obtained, but our Zhou clan's ruins. The quick-witted planner started to fabricate more stories. His story was flawless, making it difficult for others to detect any problems. The Demon Pattern Valley, I didn't think that such a weak faction would dare to target our Zhou clan. They really think that our Zhou clan has no one left. Before the Zhou progenitor could speak, the old soul with terrifying strength spoke in anger. Junior, I can give you the ancient beast talisman and teach you the tyrannical kick to help you survive this crisis. But this 9-dragon portrait is not ordinary. Once it appears, it will definitely cause a storm of blood in the central world. If the outside world knows that the 9-dragon portrait has reappeared in the Zhou clan, it will be a disaster for you, not a blessing. The Zhou progenitor said. Shi Ping is already satisfied to be able to obtain the ancient beast talisman and the tyrannical kick. Planner said excitedly. Junior, although the ancient beast talisman and the tyrannical kick are not as precious as the 9-dragon portrait, they can still cause Nirvana realm old monsters to fight over them. So you must use them carefully. The Zhou progenitor solemnly warned. Shi Ping understands. I will use these 2 items carefully. Planner nodded and promised. Junior, let me ask you. What is the origin of the person who came with you? Is he reliable? The old soul asked worriedly. This. Planner hesitated and said, I was able to find this place thanks to his help. But he is rather mysterious. Also, he wants a great treasure of our Zhou clan. As expected, there is something wrong with this person. Just as Planner finished speaking, the old soul was instantly enraged. How can an outsider obtain the great treasure of our Zhou clan? This person must be eliminated. The Zhou progenitor nodded and said, Otherwise we will never have a day of peace and you will be killed. Patriarch, focus on teaching. Leave the mission of killing that person to us. Today, I will make it impossible for him to escape even if he has wings. The old soul said coldly. Go. The Zhou progenitor nodded and said. Under Planner's scheme, Yi Chunfeng had become the public enemy of the Zhou clan. Remember URL. Sanwu Chinese Network.